Good evening, chat. Oh, wow, we're in a little screen here. Sorry. Good evening, guys. Welcome to the Thursday night show. After all, it's Thursday, so we should do it. It's Thursday night. Hope you guys are having a great night. Obviously, if you are, if you were with us last night for the birthright citizenship case, yeah, it wasn't a good night. It was definitely a cope and a seethe. But you know what? C'est la vie. That is how the world. It's how the world goes sometimes. You know, as much as I think it's wrong, probably not a whole lot we can do about it. With that being said, hope you guys have had a great day. It's been. Oh, I forgot my windows. I closed my window earlier. I need to open it back up. It was like 80 here today. It was like 80. It's sunny. It's been it's been stunning. And I hope you guys had a really good day. I know apparently like in the other parts of the Midwest, like Illinois and Iowa, it's been really, really nasty. So I hope everybody's okay out there. If that means probably sometime tonight, we will deal with what happens out there. So yes, I know you guys last night for the model stream, I left it running, and then I woke up this morning, got ready, went to court, and I was out actually driving in between hearings I had, and I'm like, son of a bitch, I left StreamYard running. So apparently it's going for a while. Apparently somebody X told you Ohio's not part of the Midwest anymore. Well, fuck Grok. Fuck Grok. We're not doing that. We're not. Yeah, I don't care what Grok has to say. Grok's wrong all the time anyway. So I don't care. Let's see here. 2A like hard fork. You know, it's also been stunning, Sean. You in that red shirt, fancy. Well, thank you. I try to be. I mean, you know, it's just, you know, I do what I can. And, you know, my mom says I look cute, and 2.0 says I look great. And, you know, what more can you ask for? When, you know, you get the stamps of approval from those two people? Well, I'm assuming your 2.0 or 1.0 and your mom's. I'm not saying I get approval from your mom's. That's going to make a joke there, but I'll leave that one be. Oh. Yes, Pete, we're going to get into this tonight. Tina Peters is getting resentenced. We'll figure something out there, and we'll get to that. JLR 57 says, "What color is my hair?" It's gray. Although technically they're white hairs, but yes, it's, you know, basically like that. That for the most part. It used to be jet black, like black. Used to be black. Not for a very, very long time. Not for a long time, chat. Oh, you say NASA thanked me for providing the gravity boost for Artemis 2. Well, hey, I did my part, and I'm very proud of it. I'm very, very proud of it. My hair's turning green. If it's looking green on screen, I'll figure out what to do about that. Let's see here. ACOG says currently reenacting Operation Arclight in War Thunder since they added B-52. Very nice. If you guys don't know what Arclights were, Arclight raids were the name of bombing raids for B-52s where they would literally just carpet bomb the jungle. Arclights were something that like MACV saw guys were the like one of the only. Actually, I think they were like the only group on the ground that could actually call those in as part of their close air support. So for like MACV SOG, if like we need close air support, B-52 bombing raid, like that's how important these Arclight raids were. And you know, it's a whole other thing about like B-52s getting shot down. So it turned into a whole nother mess. But having fun with the Arclight raids, that's cool. And just imagine a B-52. Hold on here, chat. Needed to see something here. All right. Does Clyde scratch the ground and charge at you in that shirt? No, he does not. No, sadly. He just comes up to me and hops up on me and, you know, sniffs my eyes. He sniffs like everybody's eyes. That's a weird, like, it's weird when he sniffs you. If you don't have glasses on, he will come up and like sniff your eye socket almost. And we kind of joke like he's sniffing everybody to make sure they don't have like eye cancer or something, which I've looked up for. It's really fucking like it's a real thing. It's scary shit. Scary shit. Amateur iconoclasts apparently they did like an arc light raid in the Gulf War. Really? I don't know about that. I mean, like, I don't think. I'm trying to think. I don't recall ever reading about that, but if they did it, that's pretty gnarly. I just can't imagine where they would have done such kind of a bombing raid. I mean, most of the things they did were like, directed air to ground operations, and you end up with like the F-111 Aardvark with more anti-tank kills than the A-10. It's just weird. It's just weird. I don't know. I could see it. I guess I could see it, but by that point we were just spamming precision stuff. So, um, I was gonna say I didn't think we carpet bombed like that in the Gulf War, but they could. They could. They could. Let's see here. They churned the desert with B-52s in 91. Okay. Okay. Was not aware of that. Was not aware. I learned something new today, chat. David from Making Law Simple. David, good to see you. Says Letitia Stotch's conviction was overturned today. I did see that, and that's something that'll be an interesting retrial. If they do try that again, they might make her an offer, figure out a way to settle it. I don't know. Who knows? But that will be an interesting one, and that's probably one. I know you covered it before. I actually do think it's probably an interesting one to cover going forward. But we will get started, chat. It's been long enough. It's been long enough. The Minnesota HROs, between the two men who just can't quit each other. They just can't give each other up. Well, there was a new filing that came out today. At least it hit the internet today, which that doesn't mean much. It could have been from yesterday or the day before. I don't really know. I don't know. All I know is it came out now. So we're working with that. We're working with what we got. And what do we see? What do we see? Well, we saw this idea. Hold on here. We see this. There was a motion to continue filed. And the motion to continue was filed by Patrick and Nick. Yes, you heard that right. After spending this whole week talking about how Judge Tvedin, or whatever the hell, I don't know his name, some Scandinavian name, was gonna, ruin it and denying everybody their right to a trial, and Nick was gonna run him out of town on a rail. Just you watch an election season. He then turns around and asks for a continuance. Now, I understand Nick's argument was, well, I wanted to go sooner. Yeah, that's not how that works. You don't just get to say, well, I want to go now. And the court's like, oh, of course, sir. Like, there's only two times where I can see that being an issue. You have a speedy trial problem for a defendant in jail, or number two, it's also generally a criminal related thing. Your guy wants to plea, and they'll fit you in right away to resolve it if you're on the eve of trial. Sometimes if you have a civil case and like, hey, judge, we have a resolution, a settlement, they'll make room to put that on the record to keep their schedule going. But this idea of, I want this whole day event and I want it for me now. No, that's not how that works. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. So now what do they want? Well, they want a continuance. They want a continuance. Why? Well, if we notice that this is the response from Brian, this is Aaron's attorney, and this was filed on April 1st, or he responded at least on April 1st. Or if that's the printer, filed and stayed on April 1st, the funny thing is this is a separate page. What's on that page? Why can't we see it? Think that'd be kind of important to know. Maybe it's nothing, but why don't we see it? Either way, let's keep going. This is Aaron's attorney talking, and he says, if the court's inclined to grant opposing counsel's continuance request, meaning Frank White, the Barnes Walker, or the other guy, the Brian, I don't remember his name, but the other guy, because he's got the two attorneys. Him and Mullen have the two attorneys. We ask the court order that Mr. Rekieta and Mr. Melton not to engage in and or encourage any harassing conduct related to my clients during this year's Hackamania event. And why is that important? Well, because Hackamania, guys, is, and I'm sure, you got free advertising from me, Patrick Melton, free advertising. Hackamania 3, Hack to the Future, in Las Vegas, Nevada, April 10th, 11th, and 12th. And what do you guys want to know? If you guys want to know, Nobody Likes Onions going to be there. Carl from Who Are These Podcasts. Cardiff Electric. That's a potato guy. Tukey. That's like the Neon Grover. The Creep Off, don't know who that is. Jim and them, do not know who that is. Anthony Cumia from the Opie and Anthony show fame. And then Dr. Steve. I don't know who Dr. Steve is. And there are going to be other people, but that's who they're going. And they're all going to be in Las Vegas. Well, the hearing is set for the 13th. So, Judge, we can't go to our Goober festival. And then the next day we have to fly back. Okay. Also, though, more importantly, why now? I mean, we've known this date for a while. We've known this date has been filed for a while. And just now, obviously, I doubt Nick and his attorneys filed this April 1st. But this would have been filed a couple days before, probably. So the end of March, we're now 2 weeks away, less. We're now asking the court to continue this all-day hearing that's been set for a couple of months. Why now? You knew this was here and you knew this was set. Why wouldn't you have asked back then? That would be a little more reasonable. That would make a lot more sense. I have some feeling this is going to get granted anyway, but it's just why wouldn't you do that ahead of time? Waiting until the last minute's never good. Because if the judge says no, well, now you're shit. But if you do it way farther back, you can maybe get another shot at it. Maybe you could figure out what is it that we need to do to make the conditions for a continuance, receptive. But just doing it like this at the end, it's especially when right away, because the date got set. Remember, we talked about this. The judge set the date. I think Aaron mentioned this on the show. The judge set the date and said this better be done. Whatever day he picked that, and he picked that day. I don't know if the counsels agreed to it or the judge is here's a day. Are you both available? Who knows? But either way, it sounds like obviously Nick would have known about it right away. Well, I can't do this. Well, why the fuck would you wait? Why the fuck would you wait? It just seems kind of goofy. But either way, what is he wanting to do? Well, Aaron doesn't want them to talk about making disparaging comments, as well as not sharing any private communications, documentation, images, text messages, emails, without my client's consent. I mean, I wonder if that also includes the Google Drive, because I think, you could argue that's definitely private. But is it private for a text message? No, I wouldn't say text messages are private. You send them out, they're out there. Images, once again, unless that image violates Minnesota state law, it's fair game. So I know somebody sent me a thing on Twitter saying, well, how come that's not, Aaron could do it? Because they said in state law, you can't do X. That's why. So you have to deal with that. The emails, well, the emails will be kind of interesting, because guess where those emails will be coming from? Aaron's Google Drive. And I think he definitely has an expectation of privacy there. So it'll be interesting to see what will happen. Could the court grant the continuance? Yeah, I'm sure the continuance is going to get granted. Is the rest of this going to happen? I don't know. I don't know if the court's going to do it. The court might just look at it and say, continued, and I don't want to fuck with the rest of this. The court may look at it and say, I'm going to do part of this. I'm not going to do all of this. I get the feeling court's probably going to say, no, I'm not doing any of this. But yeah, I have a feeling this is all going to get squished out, and then the continuance request will be granted. So ultimately, what does this do for the case? Well, it's a continuance. Doesn't hurt anything. I still think Nick and Melton have the edge on Aaron. As I've stated, I think the way the case has been going, Aaron has been improving his odds, but the odds are still in Nick and Melton's favor. So there you go on that. But yes, another day, another bit of drama to the never-ending story. And it's not a fun story. Silly Old Fidget says, do you think Aaron should pursue the Google Drive hack? Pursue how? He's already gone to the police. He's gone to the authorities with it, and they're just like, yeah, we're not bothering with it. We don't care. Not that, whether or not they think a crime happened, they're just like, yeah, I'm not doing that. There's nothing else to do. I mean, what else do you pursue? And that's where I guess I'm just asking, like, what do you do at that point? The FBI doesn't care. Well, I think the local police don't care either. I think they're just like, I think they all wish everybody would die in a fire at this point. I'm sure that everybody around is sick for this. And no, old silly old fidget, I wasn't trying to pick on you. I'm just saying, like, I don't know what else you can do. If you've already gone to the cops are like, meh, well, that's it. If the cops aren't going to get involved, they're not going to get involved. So, I mean, you could maybe try, like, if this was a situation where you needed a prosecutor to be involved and prosecutor A loses, then prosecutor B takes over, you could probably, I would recommend maybe you try that and go say, hey, Mr. Prosecutor, you're new. Do you like this or not? Maybe. But that's it. That's really all you can do. That's all you can do. So that's it. That's it for now. But it is interesting this happened, especially after we heard about all the things he's going to do. And then he's like, well, can I go play with my friends? I'm going to be really sleepy coming back on the plane. It's like, very, very funny. Hire executive outcomes to handle it. We hire some South African. Well, it's not executive outcomes. I know they're kind of coming back. It'd be like Sandline International or something. You gotta have them bring the DACA with them. Although I think Sandline International's gone too. They got in a lot of trouble for killing people in New Guinea. I think it was in Bougainville. Forget, but they got in a lot of trouble down in the South Pacific. X, the feds just dealing with cucks in the toe. Well, we're going to talk about some FBI hijinks coming up. Final Revolution. I'm not talking about everybody hackamania. I think the local authorities just wish like Aaron and Nick go off and like Brokeback. Well, nobody died in Brokeback Mountain, but what's a movie where they Romeo and Juliet themselves? There we go. My nagger says Sean will never say my name. Say my name, Sean. My nagger. There you go. Hi, Sean. Hello. So that's it there. I know that's the big scandal for the night. But there it is. Out with a whimper. And it goes on. It just makes you wonder, like you want all this shit to happen. You're like, I want this to happen. Well, then I know. Like, because you're going like, why? Well, I've got a business trip planned. It's like, no, I'm going to go laugh at Aaron's penis at Hackamania. It's like, that'd be a funny thing to tell the court. Like, why are they going? Oh, because they're going to go sit there and last time, Your Honor, they shipped a refrigerator halfway across the country to own somebody. It's like, okay. That's interesting. Nick called me. I understood he did. I understand he did. Oh well. I mean, like, hey, I'm apparently the biggest scumbag he knows. Not all the drug dealers or whatever. But hey, I guess when evil men curse your name, it's not a bad day. It's not a bad day. So life moves on. Panzer Dude saying, did you know that PSA 6 just proposed to Sammy G? No. And if that's really true, congratulations. That's awesome news. Congratulations. Well, I hope she said yes. If she said yes, congratulations to Stitch. Many blessings out to them. And I hope it goes very well going forward. And I hope they live stream their wedding. And they let Adam Friended play the harmonica as they come walking in. That'll be great. That will be great. Kind sir, how you scumbag? I don't know. People are mad. So it says don't get married. See, I disagree with that. I think if you find somebody who's right for you, why wouldn't you not want to get married to them? I think that, obviously you shouldn't just get married for the sake of getting married, but yeah, if you find somebody who's your person, you should. Especially if you think so. Would I go to Ethan Ralph's wedding? That would be if he sent me an invite. I mean, I don't know. I might send them. We might send them a gift at least, but are they going to do it in Mexico? Because it's I don't really know if I want to go to Mexico. Like I said, Mexico's like Afghanistan, except none of the women wear burqas. But it's literally a failed state. Don't want to do that. But if they come up to West Memphis and get married, sure, we'll go to that. Or if they want to, do the wedding up in Chicago or wherever Scarlett's at, that'd be interesting. But yeah, otherwise, no. No. They'll go to Vegas to do it. Yeah, I don't know. I know Ralph has kind of said Vegas, but I don't think he'll do that. I think Ralph's, would I go to Vegas? Sure. It'd be fun. Never been there. So it would be interesting. Then you get a wedding in Gary, Indiana. Getting married in a vacant steel mill. Oh. Moments of Change says happily married over 20 years. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. So their wedding song will be I Love You, Bish. That would be funny. That would be very funny. Chicago is also a failed state. Yeah, but I can drive there and drive home. So, all right, guys, let's move on from there. In other news, this is something we covered previously. We covered the indictment of these guys. These are the car crash attorneys in New Orleans where they were orchestrating car crashes with semis and then filing lawsuits. I think you guys remember we covered this a while back down in New Orleans. And they actually ended up, one of their guys they were using to do the car crashes was apparently not reliable or something, or they were worried he was, there's an accusation he talked, from what we could infer, that they thought he was going to talk or they knew he had talked to the FBI. So they had him killed. So these judges these attorneys got in trouble for doing that. And I just wanted to point out, they ended up getting convicted. So these attorneys, were found guilty of fraud and witness tampering. And the witness tampering goes back to having the guy killed, also threatening people to threaten other people who were going to cooperate not to cooperate. And I just thought it was interesting. I think Ag sent me the link, or somebody sent me a link. But yeah, it was kind of interesting, covering that, how wild and crazy it was. These attorneys were doing car crashes, and any city you go to in America, you'll see them plastered on the side of buses and on benches and on billboards. You have them everywhere. You see them on TV everywhere you live. Here in Cleveland, it's called Kissling, Nessico, and Reddick. You get hurt in a car, you call KNR. And they handle all that kind of stuff. And I'm just thinking, imagining those guys being involved in orchestrating fraud and then having somebody murdered over it. And you're like, wow. It's very interesting how he did this. It's very interesting. It was they did their part in adding $600 to everybody in Louisiana's car insurance. Obviously, it wasn't just them single-handedly, but they probably played a significant role in doing it, which is hilarious. And they also point out, yes, one of the guys involved was murdered after he'd been cooperating with the feds, although it's not clear if they knew or thought he knew. But one of the other people involved is another attorney, this guy, Sean Alfredish, who's accused of the murder. He's a disbarred attorney that was involved in it. Very cool, very funny. It was a crazy thing. If you guys are going to go back and watch it, when you read it, at first you're like, oh, there's faking car crashes. No, what these guys did was absolutely diabolical and it's pretty funny. Pretty funny. So You saying car insurance sucks there, which is interesting. Which is interesting. I wouldn't have thought about it. So, Cat Med says that's a lot of damage. Yeah, they cause a lot of damage. Yeah, faking crashes with semi-trucks. And they were faking them or staging them, meaning like they would pull up in front of a semi-truck and like slam on the brakes or run into it. But they would manage the wreck so like nobody got killed. So it's not like Fast and Furious where the guy gets like sucked under the, rear tires of the truck with his car or anything like that. Although for these people, that's probably fitting for them. So just wanted to provide that as a bit of an update here. I feel like there's a Law and Order plot many years ago. Yeah, well, everything. Yes, everything's basically a Law and Order plot at this point. So yes, everything's a Law and Order plot at this point. I just thought it was fun to catch up on that real quick. And then another for 5 subs. He gets us on a woo tonight. Such a good boy. The best boy. And I don't know if he's going to come in because I think he might know the weather's changing, but we'll see if I can get Clyde, Bon. We have them both. We have Bon tonight. We have Bon all weekend, chat. Bon, Clyde. I don't know if they're going to come. So they're like, Bon's like seeing 2.0. It's like, oh my God, I missed you. So we have Bon all weekend. Oh, by the way, Chad, I forgot to mention, hope you had a very nice Holy Thursday. Tomorrow is Good Friday. And then, obviously Saturday. And then Sunday is Easter. And, I wish all of you guys a happy Easter. If I don't see you before then, I wish you a very happy and joyous Easter. And remember, he is risen. He rises always. He every year, it's he's always risen on Easter. It's good news. It's always good news on Easter. So keep that in mind. I hope you guys all take care of yourselves and take care and enjoy your celebrating of that. The Simpsons already did that. Yes. Oh, who's messaging me? Trying blowing me up. So it's Passover, no leavening here. Well, sorry you don't get to hang out with sorry you don't get to chase around the Easter bunny and eat eggs. Sorry. I'm gonna be enjoying some Easter ham. Actually, I don't know what we're doing this week on Sunday, but not ham. I'll pass. V2 says you fell asleep. No, I did not. I actually told them I'm going, but they wanted to leave it running, so I left it running. So I left it running for them. And they enjoyed it. He's risen for real, no cap, on God. That's actually very, very apropos. It's very correct usage. Very correct usage, Johan. Oh. Well, yeah, technically, yes, I did fall asleep because I went to bed, but yes. Oh. But yeah, like I said, I was halfway to court and I'm driving around. And I'm like, fuck, I left that running. That's not good. So, yes, I don't like to eat my own kind. That's true. All right, guys. So moving on from there, we got some other stuff to get into here. Kind of the real breaking news today is Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is no longer the Attorney General. Thank you, Jesus, for getting through to Donald Trump, because I've said it from the beginning. She's probably one of the worst people Trump has appointed to a position. Oh, shit. Oh, hold on here, Chad. I got to do this real quick. Stephen Cooper for 50 subs. Damn. Thank you very much. I guess she's celebrating too because Pam Bondi got fired. But wow. Oh, chat, that gets us a big award. And I don't know if you're commemorating this to Donald Trump, but him firing Pam Bondi, all I got to say is,
God bless you, Donald Trump. Keep the simplified fags out of our government.
I agree. I agree. But thank you, Stephen Cooper, for your support and your generosity. Oh, 50 more. He did 50 pre-stream. Oh, it didn't show up. Hold on. Really? What the hell? I hate this when StreamYard doesn't do this. They don't always catch everything. So we're gonna have to check out here. See what this shows. No, I don't doubt he did. I want to make sure I count everything. And if there was stuff that happened earlier, like, I don't want to be. Yeah, hold on here. I want to make sure I got everything now. Okay. Holy shit. Yeah, well, it doesn't even show that on here either, that one. But Stephen Cooper with another 50 subs. Woo! Thank you. Thank you for your support and your generosity. Thank you. I miss Fist. Yeah, like I said, I'm sorry. They don't show up. That sucks. That sucks. I'll just click on it again. See, for 50 and then another 50 or another 50. I'm sorry I didn't see that. I am so sorry. Oh, but another 50 subs. Let's fucking go tonight, chat. Woo! Man, you guys must be, I'm not sure which part you're fired up about, Steven. So, but I'm glad you're here. Glad you're fired up about this. Big, just support tonight, chat. It's like, oh, it's electric. And then C3 metal thingies for 10 more subs. Let's fucking go tonight, guys. This is awesome. Just another one. Just another one. Just another one. Absolutely good. Just having the time of our lives, chat.
Oh, man! Check him out, y'all. He having the time of his life.
I hope we're having the time of our life out there. I hope we are. I am. Are you? Oh, yes. 100 subs. Yes. Monster. Kill. Why can't Stephen Cooper be the next AG? That's what he wants. Yeah, that's how it works. If you get enough subs in, I'll let Donald Trump know, and I'll tell him you want to be AG. So, like, I give him a call, be like, listen, D-Dog, I got this guy out here. He wants to be AG. Hire him. Oh, guys, no, we're not doing Freebird tonight. Oh. You missed it all the time. Why start now? Yes. I have a bunch of gifted subs and super chats in the model show to catch up on. I will definitely have to do that then. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Maddie B has been a member for 20 months. Thank you, Maddie. He says, praise Jesus. Oh. Yes, I'll eat 50 subs now. Oh. Katie for 25 months says fucking Freebird. I mean, we're not the casino. We don't have to do everything they do. I know you guys like that, but I gotta find something for us. We gotta find something for us. We gotta find our own Freebird. We gotta find our own Freebird, chat. That's my challenge to you. I'm like the Pope. That's my call to action for you. Help me find our Freebird. Help me find our Freebird. And no, we're not doing Erica. No, we're not doing Panzerleiter. We're also not doing Grünes Unsterfallschirm. We're not doing any of those. Or Deutschland über alles. We're not doing any of those. I'm going to leave it up to you to come up with something, though. We'll come up with something, chat. Oh. We got to do him, lick him low, Lisa. That would be funny. Could we do Baby Shark instead of Freebird? I'm good on that. 99 red balloons. That would be kind of funny if it was like the Lemonheads version, maybe. But that's not a bad idea. Doing the Lemonheads version. So, all right, chat. Let's get back to the stories here. We'll catch up on the super chats in a second. But Pam Bondi is out as Attorney General. Thank God. It's been about time. I can't believe. I said it from the beginning. I thought she was going to be awful. It turns out I was right. She sucked. She sucks so much. She absolutely sucked. I can't, name one thing she did good. I mean, she's going to be remembered forever for going into Congress and talking about the stock market going to 50K. I mean, that was just absolutely cringe. I don't think she was good. When you read about her in, hold on, chat. Sorry, chat. When you read about hold on here. What's about Focus Trip? He's played Big Toe Money. I've seen it. Yeah, I have thought about that. Yeah. Yeah, I got to find my own donation. I got to find my own song to get it going. But yeah, Chrissy Nolan's famous for going up there and screaming about the Dow. When it came to the Epstein files, remember, she talked about all the stuff that got said to her and all the things that he had. And then turns out they had nothing, which at the end of the day is really good because Donald Trump wasn't raping little kids. That was awesome news. But Pam Bondi promises all kinds of stuff is coming out. She gave out those binders full of shit that had already been released that was more redacted than what had already been released. Nothing Pam Bondi has done has been impressive to me. Yeah, Harmy Dillon's done some okay things in the civil rights division, but that's it. That's really it. I have not been impressed with the way Pam Bondi's been doing stuff. I really hope Trump just said, you have 1 year to get this shit done or you're gone. And I hope that's what happened. I hope that's what happened because she has just been absolutely awful. But she has to leave. And yeah, I mean, here's a good, here is a, she spoke out after being fired. And what did she, oh, I hate it when it does this. God, this gets all spazzy. But she says, I will continue fighting for President Trump. But it's if there's you fighting, I don't necessarily want you fighting for me. But this is actually kind of one of the more famous things here at this point. It's one thing she'll be forever remembered for.
Have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No, you're going to answer the question the way I asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
reclaiming my time.
The time belongs.
I think it's very interesting.
My time.
I think it's very interesting.
And you can
when
reclaim
he
your
talks
time.
about they indicted, the president said they indicted him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock and stop the clock and restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will get in order.
theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentleman from New York. We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when you ask a question, the witness gets to answer. You may not like the answer, but she gets to answer.
The question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like the answer, Chairman.
My time.
Well, I didn't like your answer either. Your answer was fucking awful. Your answer was awful. Absolutely awful.
Because it's honest. So he asked a 4-minute question.
Restore 45 seconds,
I
Mr.
am
Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
Answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch. Not on our time. No way. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order. I'm going to show you two.
You're hardly a lawyer, Pam Bondi, the way you did all this. You're hardly a lawyer. That was really fucking awful. That was absolutely garbage. Oh. That's a very severe come over for Jerry Nadler. Yeah, well, at the end of the day, he came out of that looking like $1 million, so it didn't really matter. But that's Pam Bondi for you. Like, what did we get out of her? Good riddance. But that's been something for Trump. He's had bad AG picks. You know, Jeff Sessions, Bill Barr, now Pam Bondi. It's like, oh my God. Why do you suck at this, Donald Trump? You know, you did really good with Marco Rubio. Little Marco is now Big Marco. Like, he's been absolutely crushing it. You know, I think Tulsi Gabbard's been doing a pretty good job. You know, Burgum's doing a great job. RFK, you know, he's out wreaking hell in the FDA. Cool. But, like, why? Like, Scott Bessent, he kind of said some retarded things. But this Pam Bondi, oh, my God. She needs to go. She needs to go. So, I thought I'd hate Rubio in that position. 100%. Well, that's the thing. Marco Rubio doesn't have time to piss anybody off. He's got 25 jobs. Yes. Jeff Sessions was good. No, he wasn't. He got the special counsel involved. He started that nonsense. Jeff Sessions didn't have to do that. He wanted, like, I need to look respectable and bipartisan and on. Like, he's a boomer. He's a boomer that thinks he's playing in the 80s still. That was the problem. That was a problem. Yes, even Dr. Oz, you know, the Turk is better than Pam Bondi. And God, Dr. Oz. Oof, there you go. But so, yeah, Sessions chickened out when it mattered. Yep, Sessions accused himself over nothing. Yeah. And then how much PTO does Rubio have now? I don't know. He's like 4 or 5, you know, senior executive level people. He's probably, you know, aside from his Senate time, he's earned special retire. Like, how many paychecks is he getting? Is my question. That's all he's getting. He's going to appoint his own personal attorney, some Jew. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but Todd Blanche is deputy attorney general. It'd be nice if that guy becomes Todd Blanche. Pretty good. I thought he did a very good job defending Trump's cases. I think that'd be a very good guy to make attorney general. He seems like a very competent attorney and a manager of things. Pam Bondi, though, God, she was fucking awful. She was awful. Oh. I thought him appointing Bondi was a slap at DeSantis for his election shenanigans. Yeah, I don't think so, because at the end of the day, Pam Bondi was a part of DeSantis' cabinet. Pam Bondi was attorney general back when, like, George Zimmerman happened. And she's part of the reason why George Zimmerman got prosecuted. So, take that what you will. Take that with what you will. Brian Steele, I have the feeling Brian Steele is not on the right. Also, he's making more money than he could ever make in Congress or in government, so he would never take that job. I think Brian Steele likes his job too much. So, he's going to hire the cornering like Jeremy Hambley hires. Yeah, that'd be funny. Oh. Yeah, Pam Bondi got fired 1 year too late. Joe Schmo says Todd Blanche already confirmed, so he can do the job without all the Senate shenanigans. Yeah, but he's going to have to I think he has to get confirmed as, he could be the acting attorney general, but to be the official attorney general, he would have to get reconfirmed. Yeah, Pam Bondi supports red flag laws. Yep. Yeah, me as the attorney general, he wouldn't. Well, if you want to see the DOJ and the FBI go out on a vendetta ride, yes, but that's not good. If I was attorney general, that would not be good for America. I'd make Felix Jasinski look like a bitch before I was done. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I would not be good in those positions. Jefferson Post been a member for 19 months. Says Bondi wasted so many DOJ chances to affect change. Yeah, she did. She whiffed on so much out there. Feet Tubing saying Matt Getz would have been a good AG. I don't know if he'd have been good, but I don't think he would have done as bad as Pam Bondi. So we'll find out. You want Judge Fleischer as Attorney General? Yeah. Oh, that would be interesting. So, Funbusters. Yeah, Matt could do it. That would be hilarious, especially because he's got his case with the California DOJ brewing right now. But that would be funny. By the way, chat, there is an update. Him and Cody Wilson have reached a settlement. I don't know what the terms are of that or if there'll be anything that's made public. As of right now, there has been a settlement reached in that lawsuit regarding Cody Wilson infringing on Funbusters and Ivan's and the Gatalogs copyrights. So we'll probably do a show about that coming up next week when I get a little more information on it. But that's good news tonight in the Second Amendment front. Good news. Scarebro for $4.99. I promise to read everything. Sean, Nick is holding an apology you made before the arrest. Subsequent revelations over you as being an asshole. Like excuses needs forward. I'm not going to, yes, at one point I did. And then, yeah, I didn't after that. So it is what it is. And that's all I have to say about that. If you were the AG, maybe we could finally get the nose body cams. Dolly Talk says, no, Judge Fleischer is very left-wing. Yeah, and you know what, though? I will say from watching him on screen, he seems very fair. So, like, I wouldn't be too upset. Like, he would be competent, would be at least a good start. So, Jefferson Post says for $2, me as Attorney General looks at, well, I'd be looking at, like, Antifa on the left. You're getting a Waco. You're getting a Ruby Ridge. Yes. Yes, we would be catching up on old times. We'd be catching up on old times. Put your name for Attorney General. Every time Trump did a Supreme Court nominee, I threw my name. I mailed in my resume and a cover letter. He never called back. So I'll try again, but I don't think it's going to work again. So, you want an overview for when it all resolves? Well, we'll do that. All de gusto. So, yeah, Cody has to stop stealing designs of the settlement. Yeah. PPP for Attorney General. That would be funny. Luke is saying an attorney sued a group of First Amendment auditors. Send me that. I want to read that lawsuit. I would love to read it. It sounds like it's like goobers fighting goobers. Fleischer is not believing the presumption of innocence. I haven't watched him that much. Does he say that, or does it just act that way? Because from the stuff I've seen, I was kind of thought, okay, he's a good judge. So. He's going to point sour to SCOTUS. I don't know. I don't know about that. Maybe. I would get us a robust Second Amendment. Well, I would have the ATF just gut the CFR. I'd fire all the industry inspectors, too. No more IOI inspections. So. Was Clyde on was Clyde on my CV? No, that might help. So, all right, guys. We need a tangy Second Amendment. We do. We need a tangy. Guys, there's just a bunch of super chats. I'm going to catch up to them all in a second here. We're going to move on. We got another thing to, where is the thing I wanted to get to? Yes. In the Tyler Robinson case, this is something that came up. I know Runkle did a show about this, I think already, or a video about it. But in the Tyler Robinson case, there's a lot going on, and the defense has raised a couple of things. And they want a motion to vacate or continue the preliminary hearings. Remember, we're still at the preliminary hearing stage. That has not happened for Tyler Robinson. That has not happened at all. And some states, this is a normal thing you can do. The way they do things, not to dwell on Nick Rekieta here, but just like in Minnesota, we learned about in Minnesota, they have what's called an omnibus hearing where they kind of shove everything together. Here in Ohio, you have a couple different pre-trials. You might have motions filed. but we don't do it all at once. And, the preliminary hearing happens early on, very early on, generally at the municipal court level when you're first arrested. This one hasn't happened yet. And by this point, I don't think you'd be struggling to get one here in Ohio because you're already months into the case if you were directly indicted. But anyways, this has gone on. We're now down to some information where the defense has brought up some interesting things here. And one of them, people were losing their mind over, was they talk about regarding the firearm evidence. The defense had been provided with an ATF summary, which reports the ATF was unable to identify the bullet recovered at autopsy to the rifle allegedly tied to Mr. Robinson. Now, they point out that the defense may very well decide to offer this as exculpatory evidence. But, in order to make the determination, it's necessary for the defense and its firearm expert to view the ATF case file and protocols relating to this examination, which have not yet been provided. The state has also indicated the FBI is in the process of conducting a second comparative bullet analysis, as well as a bullet-lead analysis, but these aren't complete. Now, here's the thing. I know people were saying, oh my God, the gun's not tied. That doesn't actually mean anything, because when bullets hit people, they look like all kinds of things. And these are bullets that have been shot into controlled mediums, like ballistics gel or water or some sort of thing here. But these are rifle bullets, and these are ones that are meant to expand. And there are various different things, like, you have some like Barnes TSX here, these solid copper ones, where they just mushroom out like hollow points. You have other ones that are more of like a traditional hollow point here. You have the Barnes ones that are solid copper. And then you have these other ones here. Like, I think one of these is probably like a core locked, like, the traditional Remington one where you have a bonded design that's meant to prevent fragmentation. But that said, bullets are going thousands of miles an hour. And 30-06, which is what we understand Charlie Kirk had been shot with, that thing is hauling ass. And when you shoot people, bullets fragment. They can, basically the jacket can rip apart. The bullet's going, 2,000 miles an hour, and all of a sudden in the course of the distance of Charlie Kirk's body, 12 inches, it goes from that to stop. Guess what? It's going to break. It's going to destabilize. Guess what? You might be able to do a little bit of land and groove analysis here, but even then, we've talked about this before, chat, and I'm sure Runkle would agree if he's out there. That firearm and tool mark examination stuff, it came from this. That's all fucking voodoo. It's like polygraphs. It's kind of like it's out there. It's out there. But the government police rely on it like it's, gospel. But like this right here, how are you going to tell what gun that came out of? How are you going to tell what gun that came out of? The answer is you can't. Oh, you couldn't tie it to a gun. You can't tie it to anything. It's a mass of lead and copper. There's nothing to tie it to. None of these bullets here. Like, I don't know where that one came from. I don't know where that one came from. That one especially. Like, you don't know. You don't know. So the idea there's bullet fragments and everything, that means nothing. I will give his defense attorneys credit for, I think part of, they're raising exculpatory evidence here and they're trying to sow the seeds of doubt. I think they're also trying to fuel the conspiracy theories, the theorists out there. Like, I'm sure Candace Owens is going to be like, oh my God, the Jews really did do it. And Erica Kirk really told them and they had the meeting on the plane. And oh my God. Yeah. This is part of that. You have the law, you have the facts, but you also have like psychological warfare. You are trying to poison the jury pool. You're trying to sow seeds of doubt. And notice, I can't, as Tyler Robinson's attorneys, I couldn't go on TV and tell them things. But guess what I could do? I could put it in a court filing. If I put it in a court filing, well, Judge, it's in a filing. I have to say things in a filing. So you're like, he, and it gets out there. So there are things they could do. This is sneaky lawyering. It's very well done, very well played. Yeah, Eric says all these come from semi-automatic rifles. Yes, correct. Yes. Yin Yang Dynasty says, I'm glad they're representing him this hard. When he's found guilty, he can't say he had bad representation. I agree. They're going hard. That's their job. Their job is to go hard in the paint for Tyler Robinson. Their job is to go hard in the paint. Buckmaster says the bullet not being able to be matched to a gun is not the same thing as a bullet not matching a gun. Correct. But ultimately, at this point, the bullet doesn't match. Like, this is a situation here where these disintegrated bullets, it's going to be the bullet doesn't match the gun. Like, it clearly doesn't. Like, there's no identifying tool marks you can use to show these came from which, like, there's nothing on these that show they came from that gun. Maybe this one right here where you can see a little bit of a land in a groove going. Hey, guys, if you've never seen bullets that get fired, sometimes they do get preserved somewhat, like in a dirt berm, you can dig them out. And sometimes you can see, the lands and the grooves that have been impressed into the bullet, but not always. And if you shoot one into a water tank, a lot of times you, like, especially pistol rounds, you could save them, but rifle rounds will disintegrate a lot of times in a tank because of the rapid deceleration. So, Ag says, could you check the metal composition with others found in the gun? No, because you're not going to know. Like, I don't think there's really going to be any difference, because generally, like, the lead is going to be lead, and then the copper jacket on these bullets, it's probably like, whatever company made that round. And I don't even know, who knows who made that round of ammunition. Maybe that was a round of ammunition his it's its grandfather's gun, for example. I mean, think about this. Let's say his grandfather was a reloader and he reloaded a bunch of ammunition, and what Tyler ended up with was like a mishmash of grandpa's reloads that he hadn't burned all the way through. So it's like a couple of this, a couple of that, a couple of like Federal factory ammo, Remington ammo, Barnes ammo, maybe like, Nosler, I doubt he's probably having brand new Nosler ammunition, but there's all kinds of variables there. I don't know if you'd actually be able to tell. This is not done like explosives, where explosives have taggant in them. So like C4, if you guys ever seen like a picture of like an M1112 demolition charge, it's it'll say here, you'll see this, and you'll see these here, and it'll say with like, no, hold on here, that's not actually a good picture. What is a good picture? Yeah, here we go. This is actually a good picture. You'll see this here. It says demolition charge M1112, and it says with taggant. With taggant means it's got chemical markers in it that allow you to identify what it is, who it was made for, and who made it. And more or less, like, you could tell who made it. Because, it's Army C. This is C4 from the Army. We know who makes the U.S. Army C4. And then you might be able to start tracing, and helps you figure things out. You don't generally have this. I don't know if you could do this with bullets. Projectiles that are, that's not something generally that's going to be out there. And be careful. Don't give like government ideas on how to like restrict gun control more and more, because they will figure out how to use that. Don't give them ideas. I hope that kind of answers things. Let's see here. What else were you guys saying? Those fragments looks like they pulled it out of flat tires in Pittsburgh. I mean, it happens, Marlene. Even something as simple as like a Foster slug that gets shot into a deer all over America in the fall. A lot of times those get mangled up. Like, hydrostatic shock is really tough on a bullet. The cells of things that get shot, like mostly in America, it's mammals. Your body is mostly water by volume. Well, you're shooting into basically water. Water will deform things. Water is very hard. Doesn't compress super easy. Hitting bone. if you go through the body and go through a bone, you can hit like a rock or a tree or the ground and deform the bullet more. There's so many things you can do that deform a bullet. It's very easy to do. And that's because we want bullets to deform. We generally want them to expand and create, more damage and dissipate more energy into the target. So it's kind of doing what we want. It's just not in that situation is helpful. So just something to think about. Water is hard. That's how bones work. Thank you. But no, it's just something to think about. ACOG says, I've always been curious if Lake City, that's the big government ammunition plant out in Utah, had something to mark their ammo beyond the head stamp. It all depended on what you wanted to do. It all depends on what you want to do. Shredder says, explosives matching is way more accurate. Yes, 100% it is. But that's all I understand about it. But yes, you can do a lot with explosive analysis to figure out who made it, where it came from. You might even be able to know lot number, especially if it's very exotic for a situation. So, Missouri Battleflex says there are ways to date the metallurgy. Yeah, but I don't know how much you'd be able to do in this situation. I mean, if you're talking about so you can date steel from pre-1945 or post-1945, well, yes. But I'm talking about that copper and the lead. I don't know if you could do that with it. And would it be scientifically reliable? Because I've never heard of being able to do it in a way that would work at a trial. So, yeah, we all know nothing about the loader bullet, which makes the know-it-all proclamations hilarious. Yeah, we don't know anything. We don't know anything at this point. And who knows what we're going to do. We don't know anything at this point. My neighbor says we don't use pure lead in bullets. I understand. Yes, you have lead and you put antimony in it to make it a little harder. And yes, it's not pure lead, but describing it as lead is kind of the easy way to explain to people. It's the basics. So, there we go. Oh, no, he said the metal orgy, which is based. Okay, well, anyway, that's the issue there for Tyler Robinson. There's another issue that's coming up in this case that's going to be interesting. Andrea Burkhart pointed this out, and I started reading up on it as well. It's kind of it's an interesting thing that is being challenged. There is more. There are going to be some challenges to the DNA. Let me see here. Where is... They are challenging something called the, and it's, I had it up earlier. So they're talking about the use of something called STR Mix. STR Mix is a software that it's kind of like we're dealing with the well, science people correct me if I'm wrong. This is basically STR is kind of like that interpolation thing when you zoom in and zoom out on a video or a picture, and then the AI has to figure out what's there. STR kind of does that with DNA and does some presumptive genetic typing. There's some issues about Daubert that's coming in. They say that both agencies employed a... well, now here's something they point out. The DNA summary says that the FBI and ATF indicate that minute quantities of DNA were recovered on various items, which the reports opine consist of mixtures up to 5 or more individuals. From what I understand, that's one of the things is the gun that was used. The suspected murder weapon has multiple DNA sources on it. Oh yeah, STR is short-tail of repeat sequences. Thank you. Yes, Tyler Robinson would only accept the HRT mix. Now they point out that it's a software product that sorts out the various contributors. And they point out that courts have excluded STR mix and similar genotyping software analysis when appropriate validation and the use of reliable procedures has not been demonstrated. So there's an issue with it. It kind of fits in and it kind of fills in the gaps through its own things here. Now they point out it's just one case, but it is out of the Ninth Circuit. And they pointed out that STR, it's not clear whether it's been properly validated for use with 3 and 4 person mixtures containing minuscule amounts of DNA. So there might be able to get some of this DNA evidence out. We don't know yet. We don't know. It is an interesting thing that they are challenging here, and it will be, I guess you guys, we're going to figure out science and learn science a little bit more here. Geno and Xeno typing software. God, who just emailed me? Who just emailed? What the hell is this? I don't like that. I don't like that. There we go. What is that? Oh, garbage. Okay. So we'll find out. We'll find out what happens with this, but there are some challenges to this that are coming up. And she pointed out that there's a question here that the biological relatives of the person are potential donors of the DNA, and the government hasn't demonstrated the reliability for determining who is who, and the number of contributors, which the potential for the allele sharing is high. And yeah, so if it's a gun, maybe a bunch of people touched it. Who knows? We don't know yet, but it is something to address here. And we'll find out more. We'll find out more. The bigger thing I wanted to address was the bullet stuff, guys. People are saying, oh, the bullets don't match. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. The bullets, the bullets are the bullets. That's not really, the bigger issue is he's seen fleeing the scene. He's, fleeing the scene with what looks like the rifle. He's allegedly confessed to people his involvement. There's a lot of things there that are like, he's got there's a lot there. Is that something you go for in the meantime? Sure you do. But is that going to change it at all? Probably not. Probably not, you guys. Probably not at this point. So I would not worry about that. I would not worry about that. So okay, so let's see here. That's not even what the report said. They said they couldn't match it. It's destroyed jacket, but I think there's just bullet fragments. So whatever it is, you can't reconstruct the bullet. Doesn't mean it wasn't a match. I understand, but that's what they're running with. But that's the thing. You run with what you have, you twist it and do what you can with it. That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. That's their job. That's their job. That is their job. So that is really kind of it at this point. So what happened to his girlfriend, man/fed/friend/Jim's/other non-binary other kid? I don't know what's happened to that person. I don't know. That person is disappeared. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know nothing. And I'm sure we would like to know what happened there because, yeah, what did happen? Oh, I don't know. So, yeah. So we're going to move on from that, chat. We are going to move on to Tina Peters. You guys remember Tina Peters is the Colorado woman who was the person who got sentenced to prison. She was a county clerk of Mesa County, Colorado, and she believed that the 2020 election was not legitimate, was not the most secure election in history, and believed that Joe Biden should not have been the duly elected president of the United States. So as part of that, she was involved in, didn't he confess on Discord? I mean, I don't think that's clear, but he's definitely talked about it. It seemed like they alluded to it, although we don't have everything from Discord. We don't have everything from Discord. So we'll, like I said, we'll find out as this goes on. She was convicted of a couple different felonies of basically allowing unauthorized access to election machines. And she was sentenced to 9 years in prison. She's been in prison. She's been trying to fight to get out. Most recently, President Trump gave her a pardon. And I don't, the amount of people who seem shocked that didn't work is a little weird because it's a federal pardon for a state level offense. It shouldn't work. I don't want that. You don't want that to work that way. You don't want the president being like some sort of super governor and where your governor can, person gets convicted of a crime. Your governor decides, I'm not going to pardon them. Do you really want, and you're like, yeah, governor, I support you. And then President Pete Buttigieg comes in and says, nope, I'm pardoning this person. Do you really want that? No, you wouldn't want that. Also, if he has a power of pardon, that's a power the governor has as the sovereign and the sovereign of Ohio. Like that's a sovereign power. It's a power sovereigns have held. It's a tool of mercy. It's a power of mercy. If he's got power for that, what other powers could the president claim he has over a governor? Because, it's one of that deals like once you give a mouse a cookie, I like I said, I don't like the idea of the president being able to pardon for a state level offense. So this is okay. This is okay. Now, in the meantime, Tina's appeal came back, and it's very interesting because they address a bunch of different things here, and they talk about the pardons. We're not going to get into that because it's obvious. There's no way the president's pardon could work, nor should it ever work. I don't want it to work. So I know some of you are like, well, that sucks for her. It's like, yeah, well, shit happens. Shit happens. Yeah, I understand Jenna Griswold tried to toss them all into jail, but yes, if you had a right-wing governor in Colorado, he could have pardoned her. And there was for a little while on the left, they were melting down that Jared Polis was going to pardon her, but that has not happened yet. V2 says, but it's a federal election. Yes, a federal election that occurs in accordance with state law. The federal government says the election's on this day. After that, it's up to the states to figure out a lot of things to handle there. It's kind of one of those things we were talking about in the Watson versus RNC case. All it says is election day, so what does that mean? Well, the state decides all the voting. I mean, your state decides how they pick their electoral votes. That it doesn't have to be a vote. Like a vote where you go down to the ballot box and like cast a ballot. Your state could pass a law and say the Wyoming state legislator gets to make the vote on who the electoral votes go to. And it's a vote of the Wyoming, House of Representatives. Or in Ohio, like the Ohio General Assembly, which is our house. That would be a legal and valid way to cast votes to determine where the electoral votes go. That would be acceptable. Under the Constitution, that would be a way to do it. That would be insane today, but that could be a way it's done. So it doesn't matter that it's a federal election. The state decides how they accumulate those votes, tabulate them, and provide the results. Because remember, those like we had with the slates of electors, that whole saga that was going on, those were coming from secretaries of states and other parties and going to Congress. So there's a lot there that happens. So just because it's a federal election doesn't mean anything. The slates, yes, the slates of electors. Yes. Zero Flux is right. It could be like the Iowa caucus, where that's the weird thing about the Iowa caucus when you're doing these things. Like who can win your little caucus group can come down to a coin flip. Like they have a whole set of retarded rules for it. It could be a coin flip. Yeah, it could be whatever they want it to be. They can go play a game of Madden and pick who wins. So that's entirely the way they would handle it. And then they go on, they talk about here, reprise and pardons, yeah, and the supremacy clause immunity. Well, they point out that she's not entitled to supremacy clause immunity, and they touch on the Trump v. Colorado case and also the Trump v. United States case. And then the reprise and pardons. We're not going to get into that, guys, because that's not a problem. That's not a problem. Those are all going to get shot down. Those are bad arguments. They're not going to work. And I'm not going to address them because I'm not going to address that. That's not the point of this tonight. Also, there are some evidentiary concerns. The Court of Appeals upheld all of those. The Court of Appeals upheld every single thing, but her sentencing. but her sentencing. Her sentencing is where they get to the problems here. You know, there were some other issues about post-trial motions, and they're like, yeah, whatever. But now we get to the part here, sentencing. So what does Tina Peters argue here in this situation? So she considers the trial court error in sentencing because it considered only factors favorable to the prosecution, which is not necessarily an issue here. Violating your free speech rights, that's a big one. Like, you have the right to speak freely. Violating Eighth Amendment rights, well, if you get sentenced in accordance with the law and the law allows for an appropriate sentencing range, yes, you're kind of shit out of luck. Improperly considered her contempt conviction. And they say, because we agree with the second contention, we will not address the other three. And why do they do that? Remember, it's issue preclusion. We found a reason to overturn. We don't have to go any further. So they're reversing her conviction. So what do they point out? Well, a trial court's imposition of sentence within the statutory range is for an abuse of discretion. Remember, it's within the statutory range. So if it says 1 to 100 years, as long as you do 1 to 100 years, you just have to look at an abuse of discretion. So they point out that ultimately, trial courts had the presumption of fixing and shaping the sentence that best reflects a balance of relevant considerations. But because it's challenging free speech, it's a constitutional challenge. Now, she says it violates her First Amendment rights, also her rights under the Colorado Constitution as well. They say she was punished because of her free speech regarding allegations of election fraud. And they say, we agree. And during sentencing, the court said, there are many things on my mind that are crystal clear about this case. You are no hero. You abuse your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again. In your world, it's all about you. And then the court later says, and this is all for the transcript, guys. Remember, we talked about this before with the transcript, like that thick thing of paper, like a transcript, chat. Like, this thing is what you use. This is the record. So we were talking about that judge in Texas. This is the biggest. This is the all important. The all important. And that's for my 1-day trial, you guys. That's from, hey, Pam Bondi. Hi. You gonna come here? Come here. Oh, yeah, she's right away. Anyway, that's from a 1-day trial for misdemeanor stuff. So imagine how big Tina Peters' stuff would be. So he says, so the damage is caused and continues to be caused is just as bad, if not worse, than the physical violence this court sees on an all too regular basis. Okay. No, it's not. And it's particularly damaging, and those words come from someone who holds a position of influence like you. Now you see where this is starting to become an issue. Like, uh-oh. Every effort to undermine the integrity of our elections and public trust in your institutions has been made by you. You've done it from the lectern. So yes, he's now pointing out, because you talk. The voting public provides you with everything you've done has been done to retain control and influence. The damage is immeasurable. And every time it gets refuted, every time it's shown to be false, just another tale is weaved. Now, the prosecutors make a point here. Can I make the words bigger? No. As they say, as the people, meaning the state, points out, they didn't object during sentencing to the trial court statements. Which, I think at that point, you're like, do I want to object and maybe this guy fucks her over more? I don't know. Maybe that's what they were thinking. I don't know. Accordingly, we reverse only if any error was plain. They point out it's well settled the First Amendment generally prohibits punishing someone for their speech. And it says a court may not punish an individual by imposing a heavier sentence for the exercise of First Amendment rights. A sentence based on any degree to an activity or beliefs protected by the First Amendment is constitutionally invalid. Yes. When they talk about in a case called Delaware v. Dawson, they say the Constitution does not erect a per se barrier to the admission of evidence concerning one's belief in associations at sentencing, simply because they're protected by the First Amendment. But a court goes too far if it considers such speech or an association that is not relevant to the sentencing. Now, if your speech or associational activity is relevant to the sentencing decision, it'll be upheld. You know, if you made public statements that were because they demonstrated a lack of remorse and belief your previous sentence was not serious, you know, you could say that. Like, if you're like, I don't give a shit if I did it. Well, I'm not holding that against you because free speech, I'm holding it against you shows a lack of remorse. Remember, those are all things the court consider in shaping a sentence. You know, they did find that if your membership in a group with radical views rejecting laws of the U.S. and believes he's not required to abide by tax laws would lead him to commit other crimes. You know, it's a sovereign citizen. It's like, oh, well, you're just doing your thing. You're doing your thing here. So, this keeps going and going and going. You know, they point out here that, you know, evidence of gang affiliation is not per se inadmissible if it's related to the nature of the offense and the defendant's character. So, for example, if you are part of a gang and you were convicted of gang-related crimes, okay, well, that would be admissible. But just saying he's in a gang, or you're saying you're a white supremacist and that you don't like black people and you believe in the 14 words. Your Honor, this is about him not having a license for his dog. Do you see the point? Like, that's where it becomes an issue. Judge's like, I don't like white supremacists. Judge, this is about his driver's license not being valid. That's where it's invalid. But if he was involved in, like, burning crosses, or should use that as an example because you guys probably all agree, but like if he's out racially intimidating people, which you probably agree with, that's going to be part of what he does. That's going to be what he does. So they point out here, like, there's, you know, an Idaho court, you know, they point out the trial court properly considered his statements. He only spared the victim's life because she was white. That's not like the statement at sentencing, like, Your Honor, I didn't kill her because she was white. I respect my race. It's like, bruh. Oh, no. Oh, and they say, explains the defendant's racist belief system was irrelevant in assessing the danger he presented to society. Which, yeah, that factor is unquestionably legitimate for consideration in court. And that's true. There are multiple sentencing factors. Like, I don't know every state, but they generally go around things like, you know, protecting the victim, you know, deterring future conduct, you know, making sure, like, setting examples in society. You know, are the factors more serious or less serious for the crime? Is there a likelihood of recidivism or less likelihood of recidivism? Those are generally things there. Protecting the public. There's a lot of factors to sentencing. There's these principles are universal. They just might state them differently. So. Now, they point out in Colorado, courts are to consider the nature of the offense, the character and rehabilitative potential of the offender, the development of respect for the law, and the deterrence of crime, and the protection of the public. And those are all important. The nature of the offense, the character and rehabilitative potential of the offender. You know, like, what have you done in your life? What was your life looking like? Are you going to be recidivist in your future? Do they indicate that? You know, if you're driving without a license and you have 15 charges for that, you know, as one judge says, he's like, I may not have a crystal ball, but I can look at your past and kind of come up with some good guesses on things. And if you have 15 convictions for driving without a license, guess what? You're probably going to keep driving without a license. You know, if you have a suspended license, you keep driving on a suspended license. Yeah. Or you get 6-7 DUIs. Yeah, it's presumption you're probably going to get more and more and more. You know, you have a history of stealing. You have a history of domestic violence. You have a history of drug charges. You know, like, they can, you know, come up with something. Yes, 6'7", yes. Now, they also point out other things here. The development of respect for the law and the deterrence of crime. Yes, we want the public to know, like, there is a respect for the law. And sometimes you getting punished is an example to others and deterring future conduct of others. They might say, oh, wow, fucking Sean got caught driving without a license and the judge put him in jail for 100 days. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make sure I have my license. And protecting the public. That's a concern they have as well. And they say here the comments about Peter's belief in the 2020 fraud went beyond relevant considerations for her sentencing. Her offense was not her belief, however misguided the trial court deemed it to be. It was her deceitful actions in her attempt to gather evidence of such fraud that was the crime. They say, indeed, under these circumstances, just as the reported beliefs underlying her motive for her actions were not relevant to her defense, the trial court should not have considered those beliefs relevant when imposing a sentence. And they point out, though, to be sure, many of the statements indicated wholly appropriate considerations. The court believes that Tina Peters was motivated by self-promotion and self-interest, which that is something to do, as was her lack of remorse. And that's another thing. You're allowed to punish for that. Now, here's something interesting. This is where I think we're going to read this, then we're going to put a pin in it. We recognize that when a defendant chooses to remain silent and invokes their right against self-incrimination at a trial, in sentencing, a trial court cannot constitutionally consider their lack of an expression of remorse as an aggravating circumstance. And that's true. I've had this happen before where I've gone to trial and they say, Your Honor, he hasn't shown remorse. It's like, Your Honor, he doesn't have to say shit. And the court's like, I agree. And they tell the prosecutor, fuck off. I'm not considering it. And they say, hold on here. They say, but several specific statements can be read as the infliction of punishment because of her beliefs and statements about election fraud. They say, for example, the court said her words were damaging because of her position of influence she held. And it noted that every time her beliefs were refuted, she would make a new claim. And they say, thus notwithstanding some considerations were tied to proper ones, the comments are viewed in their totality. It's apparent the court imposed a lengthy sentence because she continued to espouse the views that led her to commit the crimes. The tenor of the court's comments make it clear it felt the sentence was necessary to prevent her from continuing to espouse views the court deemed damaging, which now he's silencing her because he's saying your words are damaging. That's not why that works. You can't do that. And they did point out that although she didn't testify at trial, she chose to make a statement at her sentencing, so the lack of remorse becomes an issue for her. But the court failed to acknowledge a big point. She's no longer the clerk or recorder of Mesa County. She's no longer in a position to engage in conduct that led to her conviction, and she's probably prohibited under state law as a felon to run for office. So it can't be said the sentence was for deterrence. To the contrary, she got punished for her persistence in believing the integrity of the 2020 election. The most secure and honest election in history ever. Honest engine. Scout's honor. Most honest election ever. Because certainly a guy, when Joe Biden fails to win like any 3 of the 93 bellwether counties in America, yeah, that totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Just saying. And they say, for these reasons, the trial court obviously erred by imposing a sentence that was partially based on her speech. And they talk about, they talk about the admission of First Amendment rights were violated by admitting Aryan Brotherhood evidence because the evidence proved nothing more than the defendant's beliefs. And they go on to say, here's the problem. They say, and of course, a court's improper consideration of her speech to impose a longer sentence necessarily means the error was substantial. So we thus remand for resentencing. They say, in doing so, we reject her conclusory and undeveloped request to require the case be assigned to a different district judge. And here's the point. Any such request must first be pursued in the district court, meaning they're now going to have to seek recusal in the district court, which they should do. It'll probably get denied. Then that's something that can get appealed later. But they talk about ultimately number 17 is where we get to They say here, conviction affirmed in part, reversed in part. The convictions are affirmed, the sentence is reversed. So she's still convicted. But here's an issue. Here is the issue. They say we express no opinion as to whether on remand the trial court may take into account the statutory amendments to the crime of criminal impersonation when determining the length of sentence for the conspiracy to commit that felony. So some of the cases, one of the charges has been amended, one of the statutes has been amended. I would argue she has to be sentenced under the statute at the time because that was not unconstitutional. So that's also a point, though. The Colorado courts are left wing. Maybe that's their way to say to the judge, you could still nuke her boots off and it's okay. So what does this mean? Is she going to get the same sentence? I don't know. The judge could come back and say everything but those problematic words and sentence her. Would that hold up on an appeal and still sentence her to 9 years? Yeah, I don't know. Guys. I have seen cases in my time. Like I said, I haven't been practicing forever, but I encountered a case where this woman got sentenced by a court and the judge sentenced her. And the Court of Appeals said, nope, that's not a valid sentence. Try again. And the judge said, And he said, you know what? I'm sentencing you again to the exact same amount of time, but I'm doing it differently. And it went back up to the Court of Appeals. And the Court of Appeals again said, no. And the judge again said, fuck you, I'm doing it. And he sentenced her again the exact amount of time. And then on the third time, the Court of Appeals said, you know what? We're going to take over. And instead of getting sentenced to like 15 years, they're like, yeah, we think 8's good. And they cut her sentence in half and sent her on her way. And by that point, she had already been like 6 years into her sentence for the amount of time it took to do all the appeals. So it does happen. I have a feeling he's going to resentence her to 9 years. He's just going to remove all the shit he said before. And then I have a feeling it's going to get confirmed or affirmed at that point. So at that point. So we'll see. We'll see. And that's the other point here, Winter Soldier. Yes, there was a Democrat who got sentenced to probation. And that was why Jared Paulus was kind of like, yeah, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, she got nuked while this other lady did basically the same thing, influencing public officials and then fucking with an election, and nothing happened to her. So, but remember, at the end of the day, it's a sentence within the statutory guidelines is the first thing a court looks at. Yes, that's a big thing. That's why, I get called about doing appeals. I don't want to appeal my sentence. It's like, for what? Well, I don't like how the judge sentenced me. And I'm like, okay, like, what were you convicted of? And you look up their case. You're like, oh, okay, burglary, 2 to 8 years in prison. Well, what did you get? 4. And it's like, that's what, like, okay, like, are you black? He's like, yes. I'm like, did the judge call you the N-word up there? Did he make a bunch of racial statements? You're like, no. I'm like, well, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I'll take your money and write an appeal, but it's going to lose. Like, you can't, like, you just go in there and say, well, judge, this is unfair. This sucks. Court of Appeals can be like, yeah, no shit, it sucks, but it's legal. So, we'll find out, though. Looper is saying Peter's a mentally challenged zealot. Yeah, I don't doubt that. But does this woman deserve 9 years? That's the question. Why are we putting people in prison because we're mad at them or afraid of them? It should be because we're afraid of them. Having some Q boomer out there for 9 years is a bit fucking retarded, in my opinion. I think that's a bit much. Biden won by 8 million votes, Sean, I know, and then they all disappeared. In 2024. It's kind of weird where they all went. It's almost like, wow, mail-in voting was kind of a dumpster fire. It's kind of like it was a dumpster fire because they all disappeared later. Unless you're telling me those are 8 million people who were all racist and didn't like Kamala. I mean, but that you're saying that, not me. I don't know, man. I don't know. Looper says Trump winning by a total of 80,000 votes in 3 states, but losing by 3 million. The popular vote is legit, though. Yeah, because we don't have a popular vote. There is no popular vote. We literally have 50 separate elections. And you compete in 50 separate popular votes. We don't have a nationwide popular vote. Like, you don't have to like that, but it is what it is. It is what it is, and Aaron eats jizz. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Toot toot. We have 50 separate popular votes. You have to win. You got to win those that matter. You don't have to, like, that's like getting knocked out in a fight but I landed more punches. Doesn't fucking matter. How many rounds did you win? That's what matters. That's the battle. You could throw 100, you can land 100 punches, but if you get TKO'd or you lose by decision, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You're arguing for the wrong metric. You're arguing for the wrong metric. So. Anyway, yes, long live the Republic. Yes. Do I hope Tina Peters gets her stuff done? Yeah. We'll see. I have the feeling, though, she's going to get 9 years. The judge will go, okay, well, I'm not going to say anything wrong, and he'll just bite his tongue and won't, like, have his Reddit moment and probably give her, like, 9 years again. I don't think the court's going to overturn it. But it's good for her that she got fucked and the courts fixed it. Because a lot of times, remember, we talked about this before, courts don't like fixing messes. Part of their job is to kind of, like, pass the buck. Because they don't pass the buck, then they make other people deal with problems. It's like, that's not what you want. That's not what you want. That's not what you want. So you want them to do the right thing, and it sounds like they did the right thing for once. So yay. Good job, Colorado Court of Appeals. You got a gold sticker today. All right, chat. Moving on from there, what's our time look like? Oh, we need to get rolling here. Okay. We're going to have to do the NFL one another day. Basically, a couple of female refs are suing the NFL for sex discrimination. Shocker. Gender discrimination. Shocker. In hostile work environment. Nobody saw this coming at all when they started letting women become referees. They're like, oh my God, everybody calls us fucking idiots. Like, yeah, no shit, that was going to happen. Like, wow. I didn't think that was going to happen here. So, but anyways, we're going to get to another day. I haven't really read it too far, but I read some of the facts and I'm like, they're like, people treat us like shit. It's like, duh. All right. Moving on real quick. There is a very big thing out here right now in the January 6th bombing case. Remember, we talked about this, chat. The January 6th bombing, the bombing that, the bombs didn't go off. There's always been that footage of that person walking along with the tote bag full of pipe bombs, setting them in front of the RNC and DNC buildings. For the longest time, everybody was memeing that it was Marjorie Taylor Greene or someone there. Well, they did find a guy eventually, a guy named Brian Cole. We talked about him. It's like an autistic black guy. And we went through, allegedly, they have his records of buying all kinds of shit for years in advance for the pipe bombs he made. Well, his case has attracted attention for the wrong reasons. And ultimately, we're going to start with this on April 1st. And then we're going to go backwards in time for the response. So the government wants an order to show cause and why they want to be held in contempt for violating protective orders for the defense. And you're like, ooh, this sounds bad. Okay, well, they say at the start of the first hearing, the court admonished the parties as follows. They say this is a case of public attention. He says the judge is like, this is not a press room. I have very little patience for antics from counsel or otherwise. So, my interest is first and foremost is going to be to ensure a fair process. Now, here's the problem. And I think this is wholly unconstitutional. For the government, which is entitled to put its case on, the government is not entitled to a fair trial. The government is not entitled to that. Only one person is entitled to a fair trial in the Sixth Amendment. The framers were not worried about the government's rights in the Sixth Amendment. And if we have to, chat, for those of you in Rio Linda, we will go to the 6th Amendment. And the 6th Amendment tells us that in all criminal prosecutions, the accused meaning the defendant, shall enjoy, shall meaning he will enjoy, he has the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime had been committed. Impartial, I think, would be very reasonable to assume it's fair. It's fair. It's fair. Notice there's nothing here about the government. It's nothing here about the government. You have the right, the accused has the right to be informed of the nature and the cause of the crimes, to be confronted with witnesses against them, and have compulsory process, the power of subpoena for obtaining witnesses, and to have the assistance of counsel. Notice you see no qualification for the government. You fit no qualifications for the government. No qualifications for the government in this. And it will be certainly for Mr. Cole as well, whose rights will be respected. Okay, well. So what happened? Well, the government sought a protective order at the beginning of this. It was consented to by the defense. Okay. It prohibited public dissemination of any discovery materials designated as sensitive or the information contained therein. And they say today, the defense counsel filed with the public docket a motion for early return of subpoenas that have violated both the letter of protective order and spirit of the court's admonition. The facts and circumstances set forth below the exclusive purpose of this. Well, here we go. So they say yesterday evening, defense counsel emailed the government the following. We intend to file a motion for early return of 3 subpoenas tomorrow. We seek additional materials for 3 witnesses. The request of return date is April 24th. Do you oppose? And they say at 9:47, the government says, hey, please let these for us review. Now you might say, wow, this is Keopathic says, I see the word enjoy, meaning if they don't enjoy the trial, do they get to walk out of the building? If I didn't think a judge would throw something at me, I'd be like, Your Honor, my client's not enjoying this. I think he gets to go home. And I'd love to do it because it'd be so funny if I looked at one of the judges and he said that and he's like, the judge like stops and he brings everybody up and he's like, I don't know what to do. Sean's technically right, Mr. Prosecutor. What do we do about this? Prosecutors would be like, well, he doesn't have to enjoy it. But the judge's going to be like, but it says enjoy, and they're right there. I'd love that. I'd love that. That'd be so funny. I would love that. That'd be so funny. That would be so funny to do. Base judge would let it go. Yeah, well, it wouldn't happen like that. So they say, no, but here's a meet and confer thing. You meet and confer. Without reviewing subpoenas, the government opposes both their authorization and early return. They say if you intend to apply ex parte, we request you include the government's opposition, which is something you could do. You could send out, hey, opposing counsel, I want to file a motion. Do you support it or oppose it? And they say oppose. You're like, cool, I'll put it in there. You oppose. If they agree, I'll put in they agree. So defense counsel simply replied, we will note your concern is noted. The defense team's like, your concern is noted. 1 hour later, the motion was filed. The motion included the names of all 3 witnesses identified the night before and proceeded to publicly accuse one of those witnesses of being the true pipe bomber. We're going to get to that one, chat. We're going to get to that one because this kind of sounds like a conspiracy. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of a conspiracy here. The motion recited in detail discovery materials which were sensitive, describing law enforcement investigative steps concerning the witnesses. And it says, lest there be any misunderstanding about what the defense is imitating, the filing stated the defendant maintains his innocence and preserves the right to present at trial that witness's name, not Mr. Cole, placed the pipe bombs. The filing then astonishingly included the witness's home addresses, the witness's current and former employer, and the name and employment of the witness's significant other. Suffer, feds. You're like, holy shit, what happened? We're going to get to all this, okay? So ultimately, the government lost their fucking mind over this. They point out media figures who have been for months claiming the defendant is a patsy for the true pipe bomber. The individual publicly identified has already obtained and posted the filing and exhibits in full on social media. Yes, And guess what, chat? I have a copy of it, and it's fucking based. And we're going to read it. It's so good. So good. Yeah. Looper, I'll just say this. Just remember for the crowd, Kamala Harris couldn't even get 1% in Iowa. Remember, nobody fucking liked her. Like, just go with that. Go with that. They say only after government contacted the clerk of courts did defense counsel agree to the removal of the filing from the docket, which has since occurred. Too late. We've already got it. But yes, this filing was stricken from the record. Within minutes of the filing, the witness's personal lawyers received an email with the subject line, "I'm armed and dangerous." Based. I'm going to drive from my address and shoot your client. I didn't see this part yet. And their corrupt glow in her face. Oh my God, I love this. I love this. I love America. I love this country. Best goddamn country in the world. Best country in the world. I mean, where else can you say that to an attorney?
Was this story based? Yes.
Got they licking their pencils right now, trying to write fierce as they can. Get every word of this here. Get every word of this.
Get every word. It's a man who's after her own heart, chat. Yes, Terry Davis is smiling. Yes, I mean, I feel bad for not thinking about Uncle Terry here, but yes.
The CIA niggers glow in the dark. You can see them if you're driving. You just run them over. That's what you do.
It's true. That's true. Oh, did I get drunk and send that? No. Whoever sent that, though, fucking 07s right there, buddy. Just like, real American hero. Scylla says, we need to introduce Japanese Twitter to me. Oh, yeah, I've already seen it. It's amazing. These Japanese love to be Americans, and it's so based. So they point out here, they say this was not inadvertence, this was intentional. I'm totally sure it was. They say, pursuant to the orders, the government provided discovery materials relating this witness to the defense. The government sent defense counsel a written letter stating, this material is sensitive. Yeah, and we're going to discuss why it's sensitive. Oh my God, it's amazing. So, it included, the letter listed materials the defense date, including a category of materials related to person of interest subfiles. Oh, so this witness was a person of interest in the case. Okay, chat. So they talk about going on and on and on and on here. Okay, so what happened? And who's doing this? Janine Pirro, that fucking hack. Yes, Trump's DOJ is doing this. Fuck you, Janine Pirro. Fuck you, Charles Jones. Fuck you, Jocelyn Ballantyne. Fuck the whole national security section of the U.S. Attorney's Office. Fuck your fucking face. Fuck all of you. Because what happened? What happened? Oh, you just had to pause and screenshot that to your cousin. That is. Yeah. So guess what? We're going to read this now, chat. It's very quick here, but it's important. Guess what this is? It's the defendant's motion for return of early return of subpoenas. So we've got this. We got this good, chat. Oh my God. Oh my God, chat. Here we go. And we don't bury the lead, and I love it. The defense is not burying the lead. Sean Kirchhoff was named as a person of interest in the pipe bombing investigation. Yes. Sean is Miss Kirchhoff was a U.S. Capitol police officer on January 6, 2021, and was present at the Capitol on that date. She now works for the CIA, and the CIA has its own police force. Like, there are people there that do security. They are uniformed officers. I'm sure they've got some like GRS, global response staff dudes running around on the property too as like a response team that will kill you without hesitation. But like the people at the front gate and interior security is done by uniformed personnel. That's what it looks like she does. So anyway, I thought she was cleared. Oh, you thought she was cleared. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Yeah, she's not a spook. She's not a spook, but she works at the CIA, probably in a security role. So, according to Discovery here, the FBI began investigating and covertly surveilling her during the time it looked into Brian Cole. Yeah. So here's what happened. On November 6, 2025, she was interviewed by the FBI and took a polygraph. She was asked 2 relevant questions. Did you place those pipe bombs? And did you place those pipe bombs that evening? Miss Kirchhoff failed the polygraph. The FBI polygraph examiner noted Kirchhoff's very controlled reaction in the news of her failing the polygraph and seemingly rehearsed responses to the questions. I mean, I will give the FBI credit. Like, here's something I will give them credit for. At least they treated her better than Richard Jewell. Because Richard Jewell passed polygraphs. He completely cooperated. And they still accused him of doing the fucking Olympic Park bombing. But it's very interesting. This woman bombed the polygraph. And you know what? Polygraphs are voodoo, chat. But you know what? The police believe those as science. They think polygraphs are legitimate science and legitimate investigative tools. Even though really a polygraph is literally the equivalent of cutting a chicken's head off and looking at how the blood splatters all over the ground and interpreting that. It's literally fucking voodoo. But to a cop, they think it's fucking amazing. They love polygraphs. They love them. But yeah. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that, chat. She bombed her fucking polygraph. Yeah, Aldrich James passed the poly, sure. But she completely bombed it. She bombed it. 5 days before the FBI opened the file on Brian Cole, the FBI named her as a person of interest and opened a file on her. The government immediately issued subpoenas and preservation requests for numerous electronic devices for her. Guess what? They all want those. That same day, the government officially opened its thing there. Agents attempted to question Miss Kirchhoff and Mr. Dickert at her residence. That's her like husband or boyfriend. The next day, they interviewed her dog walker. The following day, her and her boyfriend, also a Capitol police officer, whoa, that's interesting. That's interesting. Were interviewed together by the FBI and also AUSA Ballantyne. Huh. Wait. Chat. We're going to do the Drexel on this. Chat. You mean that lady who's running the case? Who's now a witness? I guess she's technically a witness to shit now. Huh. Funny that. Things that make you go, Things that make you go, In November 2025, the FBI interviewed the co-workers at the Capitol Police, her neighbors, surveilled her without her knowledge, requested her employment records from the CIA, and sent surveillance footage of her walking to a podiatrist, likely for gait analysis. In chat, gait analysis is actually a thing. You guys have probably seen that Mission Impossible, which I forget which one it is, where Simon Pegg has to walk down the hallway and they do his gait analysis. It's not that good, but you can use gait analysis to determine a lot of things. Like, you only walk a certain way, and you can kind of tell who's who a little bit there. But it's one thing that goes along with it. Oh, share screen. Sorry, chat. So she's been surveilled in all kinds of things. But they're pointing out that walking to a podiatrist, meaning she had some sort of walking issue, and that the images they probably have of her are a walking issue. So, Adam says gait or gate? Gait. G-A-I-T. Your gait as you walk. So, Mr. Cole was arrested on December 5th. The FBI closed the surveillance lead on January 7th. So, they want subpoenas for things here. A video of her dog at her home. And this is like, it's like from the movie The Siege. Or like, the dog works for the CIA too? With her voice allegedly in the background, purportedly from the evening of January 5th, shown to FBI agents by her or Mr. Dickert in November 2025. That's weird. Why would they have that fucking video? And any other photo, video, or audio device created on that same day. Woo! The identity of the phones on which the dog was stored. The dog video was stored. Her employment records from the CIA in her possession. Her offer letter from the CIA. Her SF-86, which is the questionnaire that they use for your background check that she completed for a job at the CIA. Documents provided by Kirchhoff to the government as part of its pipe bomb investigation. Her home camera recordings of January 5th through 6th. Communications between Kirchhoff and Dickert. Identity electronic devices from Kirchhoff through January 8, 2021. Documents reflecting her work schedule on January 5th. Communications between her and family members with the 614 area code phone number from Columbus, Ohio. That's Columbus, Ohio. Communications, see chat? Ohio woman is crazy too. We'll plant bombs everywhere. Communication between Kirchhoff and the government and Kirchhoff and Dickert from present through to related to her polygraph. The January 6th pipe bomb investigation, any photo or video for her alibi. Documents and communications about services used to wipe publicly available information about her. Yes, because she basically wiped her online presence. The phone number and carrier for any device she used on January 5th or 6th, provided by her employer, the Capitol Police. A subpoena to Daniel Dickert. So they want all the things basically from there. All the home camera recordings, everything, chat. So they want to talk about the purchase receipt from Rosina's on the Fort Hunt Shenandoah Road, and the phone number and carrier for any device he used from his employer. A subpoena to Dr. Michael Nurnberg, Dr. Podiatry medicine, for documents concerning foot gait analysis performed off Ms. Kirchhoff and documents communications regarding gait analysis performed related to the pipe bomb investigation. Woo! Wow. Wow, chat. Wow. That's totally not a cover-up. Well, chat. Oh, buddy. Sounds like there might have been a little bit of a cover-up here. You know, the FBI, if you bomb a polygraph like that, that generally doesn't bode well. And if she bombed the polygraph regarding that, I'm surprised the CIA didn't terminate her employment, because that's really bad. If you're in another investigation for a federal crime and you bomb the poly on that, I can't imagine why the CIA would let you remain employed with them. Even if you're not in an intelligence role, this is a massive liability. Will this end up with nothing happening? Oh, of course. Sadly, that's what's really nothing's ever going to happen. But it's fun to dab on this when it happens. We're just bop, dab on the glowies. Just love it. Just love it. She mostly likely lied about her drug use on the poly. Maybe. But yeah, I mean, with Janine Pirro in charge of this one and the Pam Bondi, I'm not expecting anything to happen. So, yeah. Yeah, it's totally shocking the glowies helped them plant the bombs. Don't care. What was this woman's name? Shaun Kirchhoff. ShaunKerkhoff. Shaun Kirchhoff. Yes. Or Shawnee Kirchhoff, I think is her name. So. So, and it's funny because, we have, there are some pictures of her from previously. I'm trying to find them. Yeah, here you go. Yeah, here you go. This is the best part about it. This is from Thomas Massey. He posted, and there's a bunch of fucking pictures of her that are out there. People have done all kinds of things to report on her. And also apparently this is I normally don't like Ivan Reichen, but he is a former SF dude. He's on the right, and somebody was testifying, and he wrote her name on a piece of paper at a congressional hearing, and it's like fucking hilarious, absolutely based. You're just like, yeah, buddy. You're just like that's so funny. It's so funny and weird how these feds are involved like this. And yeah. You just like to makes you wonder, chat. And yeah. Hold on, chat. I forgot to tell you. Oops, by the way, before whatever you guys do, don't accidentally see these pictures. Sorry. Oops, I didn't mean to show those. That's not her. I didn't mean that to be her. I didn't mean that to be her. Oops. So, yeah. That's her, all right. Is she an alphabet? No, she's I didn't tell you. She apparently Mr. Dickers is a man, so Glowies have no right to privacy. Yeah, well, they do. They do a little bit. All right, chat, real quick. We got to say hi to our sponsors real quick. We'll get to all the super chats and stuff at the end here, but real quick, we need to get to our sponsors tonight. TheDragonsTreasure.com, your haven for tea and anime and soap and coffee. Doesn't sell anime, but it is a haven for anime lovers. If you happen to like tea and you like coffee, like I said, I know you guys don't like soap, you like anime, but really, get some soap. You guys need it. You guys need that soap. Gotta be soapy. Gotta be clean. You can't be the smelly guy at the con. Can't walk up to the table trying to get Pokemon cards and, sell your EX Gengar if you smell bad. Anyways, check them out. Check out the tea, man. Use the promo code CRIMINAL for 10% off your order. Buy the Tea Man's tea at thedragonstreasure.com. Chat. Next up is MAF Corporation. That's right, chat. MAF-arms.com. Your place to go for wind chimes and wind chime accessories, chat. Right, they are wind chimes. And remember, chat, spring has sprung. Spring is in full gear. It's that time of the year, chat. Get your wind chimes going. 2.0 got her nice bamboo wind chime she got when she was out on her cruise. They're great. But, real wind chimes, bing, bang, bongo. Get your wind chimes ready. Show the neighborhood your wind chimes. Show them off. Be proud. Promo code POTCRIM gets you 10% off. Support Fudbusters. Support Alex Holiday. Support Ivan the Ratman. Support the catalog. Support all those guys because they're going to need it. They still got their fight against State of California coming up. So show them some love out there. Show them some love. And then finally, chat, last but not least, Stoney's Bar and Grill at 158 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota, chat. Yes, Stoney's is your place to go. Guys, they got all kinds of stuff going on. Guys, it's Thursday still. You just missed it. $2.50 cans is over. But you know what? Throwing Back Thursdays is still ongoing. They have not changed. They are there doing what they're doing. Guys, it's Stoney's and it's Thursday. You know what that means? It's bike night. So if you guys want to go to Stoney's and crank your hog on a Thursday night, it's great to do it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. April 30th, 4 weeks from now, chat. 4 weeks. Guess what? It's bike night again, the first one of the season. It's going to be spectacular. You're going to love it, chat. You're going to love it, chat. May 17th, they're doing a bike blessing. If you really believe that, God will keep you from, get, some 16-year-old texting and pulling out in front of you on your motorcycle, by all means do it. I don't know if it's going to help too much, but April 11th, they got last minute heroes there. What else they got coming up? April 10th on Friday, they got Jam It Anyway for the DJing and karaoke. They got all kinds of stuff. This Saturday, they got Griff and the Grifters. They got all kinds of stuff going on. And then April 3rd, guys, tomorrow night, they got Pandemic. You know, they got everything going on at Stoney's. Your place to go. 30 years as Minnesota's premier biker bar. So keep that in mind, Chet. Keep that in mind. Okay. Cheetah will baptize you in brake fluid. Yes. Oh. Celebrate Easter at Stoney's. I mean, well, that is funny. You know, celebrate Easter with your family and friends. God, I hope Pandemic has a metal spelling. No, they don't. They don't. It's just Pandemic. So that's okay, Chad. That's okay. That's okay. All right, guys. With that said, yes. Yeah, you know what? Some say Naked Twister's coming back this year. I haven't heard yet. You know, my sources have not indicated Naked Twister's coming back, but you know, we have not entered the Naked Twister season yet. So it could come back. Come back. All right, guys, last things last. Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, or as that guy in the movie Shaft says, Tiger Woo. I like Tiger Woo. Tiger Woods got arrested for DUI in Florida. And yeah, we're going to watch this and we're going to go through some things here. We're going to go through some things. We're going to go through the NHTSA manual. I don't have the 2026 one on me. I'm actually set to do a CLE coming up for that. And I'll get a copy of the updated NHTSA manual. But I have the 2023 one for field sobriety test. And we're going to go through this. And this is going to be really fucking weird. It's really fucking weird. And I think this is absolutely bullshit the way this is conducted. And we'll let you guys watch. We'll let you guys watch. So here we go. We don't have the whole thing. It kind of skips around in spots, but we can see some of what they do to Tiger Woods here.
Glasses and put it on top of the hood, and you're on top. And then go ahead and have a seat all the way on the push button. And then go ahead and bring your feet towards you. All the way. Perfect. And how much have you had to drink today? None. Do you take any medication?
I take a few, yes.
What's a few?
So he lists through a bunch of medications, and Tiger Woods is an old man now. Tiger Woods is old. He's been through a lot of injuries. I mean, you guys remember back in the day, he was like jacked. Well, all that weightlifting and all that shit kind of fucked him up. So he's kind of recovering from he was probably doing a lot of fucking steroids too. Like, well, let's be real. He's kind of suffering from a lot of physical maladies now. And here we go.
Ibuprofen and
so.
Did you take all of them today?
Yes.
Yeah. At what time? In the morning, night? In the morning. Do you know the milligrams for each?
No. Ibuprofen 8 and.
He talks about everything he's kind of going through. Notice, like, okay, so, and this immediately jumps into the HGN, the horizontal gaze nystagmus. And if you're watching her, I have not sped this up. She's like, I mean, look at that. Look at that. Look at her go. Look at her go. Like, she's not, like, you're, like, we're going to get to this here. Just watch this. And notice, now she's stopping. But guys, like, we need to just talk about some of this here. We need to talk about some of this. And this right here, guys, I'm going to go up to this. You could download this. This is the DUI detection and standardized field sobriety testing manual for NHTSA. This is all from the National Highway Safety and Traffic Administration. So this is federal government equipment. Like, it's all public record. this is a big issue here. And DUI tests are bullshit. Separate thing for a separate day. She's not doing it right. And you guys have seen that. You guys notice this isn't right here, okay? And you guys can read through this. It's 500 or it's 400 pages long. We're going to skip to some parts here. Okay? One of the ones we're going to skip to is, where is, and I have my own notes for these because we take CLEs on all this stuff. Okay? So here's some of the things they can do for a DUI detection guide, okay? And here's how they can do this. If you do weaving plus any other cue, they think you're, this is how they determine things here for you, okay? Are you maintaining proper lanes? Are you speeding and braking? Are you vigilant? Obviously, if you're driving the wrong way down the street, okay, that could be through here. Judgment problems. Then they talk about post-stop cues, and that's the biggest thing we're going to get to here. But you can see all these things that are going on, and you guys are going to see stuff here. I'm sure you're not going to like to hear all this. But this is how they do stuff. Okay? So, questioning techniques. They talk about, they have tactics, okay? And these all go to basically the concept of divided attention is how they field it. And honestly, at the end of the day, Larry Foreman could probably do a better job presenting this to me than me, but we're going through it, okay? This all goes to the idea of divided attention, all right? They require the driver to concentrate on two or more things at the same time. These techniques are not as reliable as the field sobriety test, but they're useful for helping obtaining evidence of impairment, okay? So they point out here, the questions you ask and the way you ask them can constitute simple divided attention tasks. And I've done this before at a suppression hearing or even in a trial. This is all about your job is to try to confuse people. It says it right here, doesn't it? And they're like, well, yeah, it does. Which manual of the NHTSA did you use? And the officer says, I did the 2017 one. So I'm like, oh, cool. I have that one right here. Tell me what that says. Yes, we're trying to ask people questions certain ways to get them all gobbledygooked up. Dirty Eric says, lawyer went through this with his in-house DUI guy. This may go, oh, I think it's going to go away. This was poorly done. So here they go. There's 3 things you can do. You can ask for 2 things at once. You can ask interrupting or distracting questions. And you ask weird questions. So asking 2 things at once, what do you do? There's ways you can do this. You ask for both documents at once. Both driver's license and the registration. They're trying to trip you up, guys. You forget to produce both. You give them the wrong thing. I accidentally got you the wrong thing. That's evidence of impairment to them. Maybe you dropped it. You fail to see it. You're looking for it. You fumble or drop them. I can't find it. I drop shit all the time. So do you. Unable to retrieve items or documents using your fingertips. Ladies, guys, you're trying to get your shit out of your wallet sometimes or your purse. It's not always easy. Sometimes you got to reach in and yank it out. It happens if it's humid out or whatever. There's all kinds of things. And Looper, we'll get to that. We'll get to that issue. Possible evidence of impairment might be observed. Okay. But they questions that divide attention. What day is it? Where are you coming from? Be alert for the driver who ignores a question. Maybe I'll ignore it because I don't want to fucking answer it. Forgets to resume his search or supplies a grossly incorrect answer. There's another one, unusual questions. After you've grabbed all his shit and he's complied, what do? You might ask the driver, what's your middle name? What's your zip code? What month and day of your birth? None of that's fucking relevant, but notice what they'll do. There's all kinds of things you could do here. And they say these questions require the driver to process information. This can be difficult when the driver does not expect to have to process information. And this is where you point out to the cops, your job is to trip people up. And jurors, when they hear this shit, fucking hate it. Now, there's always a problem when your client's falling down drunk. They don't care. But when it's this stuff on the cusp, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. A driver may respond to the question about the middle name by giving a first name. And they say, in this case, a driver misunderstood the unusual question, responded to the usual, but unasked question. Yes, because normally people ask, what's your name? Notice, they take normal things and they fuck you with them, chat. Remember, this is why you don't talk to them unless you have to by law. You don't answer questions. You gave a reasonable answer, but now that's excuse for them. So, those are big things here, okay? They talk about additional things, doing the ABCs. They say the ABCs and this stuff have not been validated by NHTSA, but could be useful for obtaining evidence. But if it's not scientifically validated, how is it reliable? Counting down, starting and stopping at different numbers. They say this technique should never be given starting and stopping, ending in a 0 or a 5, because those numbers are too easy to recall. So yes, I've had an officer admit that. Well, yeah, it's all about manipulation. And prosecutor objected, but I'm like, it's because you don't want to make it easy on people. You want to make it hard. For example, don't request a driver to count from 65 to 50. Instead, ask him to count from 68 to 53. It's just so you understand what they're doing. They talk about the finger counting. You do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like you do those. Okay. You're going to do that stuff. Yeah. Count the 49 by 7. So that would actually you would have problems with that one, because then I could come in there and be an asshole and do all kinds of math to the cop. And I would have the answers already written down. Now notice they talk about recognition clues. What do you see? An angry or unusual reaction. Nobody likes getting pulled over, but once again, that's used against you. You can't follow instructions. Remember, some of these instructions are retarded. Can't open the door. Okay. But now there are some, like these ones here are kind of bad. If you leave the car in gear, it's like, okay, yeah, that's a bad one. If you climb out the window of your car, NASCAR style, not a good one. If you're leaning against the car, well, hold on here. She told him to lean against the car. And then you get to this stuff here. Keeps his hands on the car. Okay. And then the thing is, ultimately, we get to the test. We get to the test they want to show us and use. And this is a example form, guys. Your states will have different forms, but are going to be pretty similar because it's all based on this. Okay. Oh, hold on here. What page? I think. Hold on. I think it's here coming up. Sorry. They label this all fucking goofy, and it's kind of frustrating. Oh, God damn it. Where did that slide go? They have the checklist for you to look at. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. Field taking note guides. Here's your notes and stuff they want you to use. Okay, here we go. This is an example of a general field. This is a generic copy of what you will see in the police thing. Yeah, it's 400 pages long. They talk about general observations, your speech, your attitude, your clothing. They talk about the pre-arrest screening. Remember, chat, as I told you, you're already getting arrested. They talk about the horizontal gaze, nystagmus. Did you lack smooth pursuit? Distinct sustained nystagmus at max deviation. Meaning all the way out at the edge. Onset of the nystagmus prior to 45 degrees. Is there vertical nystagmus? Remember, they also go up and down when they do it. Are the pupils equal? Do they equally track? Do they follow along in a nice, smooth manner? Is there resting nystagmus? Sometimes that happens. If you're drunk as a fucking skunk, you're going to have resting nystagmus. The walk and turn. Notice all the things for walk and turn. If you can't keep your balance, if you start too soon. For the walking stage, do you stop walking? Do you miss the heel to toe? Remember, that heel to toe, is heel to toe has got to be less than, then I think it's 2 inches, like less than 2 inches. If you go farther than 2 inches apart, You fail because you're taking steps that aren't heel to toe. You step off the line, but we've also watched those DUIs like Justin Timberlake's. There's no actual line on the ground. It's a skid mark he's following. You use your arms to balance. I mean, if you bring them up just a little bit, that's a balance. The actual steps you took. Improper turn. You sway your arms while balancing. You use your arms to balance on the one leg stand. You're hopping. You put your foot down. These are the things they use. This is the shit they use to fuck you with. That's the shit they use to fuck you with. Am I telling you to have vertigo? No, I'm saying don't do these. If your state allows you to legally not do the field sobriety test, do not do the field sobriety test. Ever. But this one's already such bullshit. Like, one of the biggest indicators that somebody's intoxicated is that they're swaying and they can't maintain balance. Well, guess what? Tiger Woods is leaning against a car. So there's already one of the biggest indicators of any time I've had clients with DUIs. This is a problem. Because he's not swaying, he's not moving. We're going to go back here. His head's going to be fine. Watch this. Here we go.
All of it today?
Notice his head's pretty much staying in place. Ernie saying he has to lean on the car. It's acknowledged. That would be a very problematic thing here. If, like, I watched a DUI here in Ohio. You're leaning on the car. How the hell do you know this guy can't maintain balance? Oh, well, he's injured. It's like, then why would you even bother performing this test? Because that's one of the big ones is on HGN. You can't maintain your balance. So far, he's fine. And she's acting like a spaz doing this. This is not proper. This is highly problematic. Okay, that one's a little bit, but that's not that big a move. She's saying don't move your head, but you're also moving it fucking properly. I understand his leg is messed up, but at that point, you should just take him and give him a breathalyzer if you think he's bad, or make him piss in a cup. This actually undermines their case for probable cause because this is such a fucked up HGN test. Like, holding it for that long, you can't hold it that long. You have a maximum amount of time you are supposed to hold it out there. Because even if you hold something way out in the end and your eyes are looking at it, it strains your eyes. It's not good. It's not easy. Like, I get it. He's injured, but what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? I mean, what the fuck is that? That's not in the NHTSA manual. What am I supposed to do with that? What the hell is that? If you did this in Ohio, the judge is going to laugh at you. The judge is going to laugh at you. What the hell is wrong with his leg? He's years of steroid use. That is the boating alternative testing. Well, that's fucking awful. That's awful. That's fucking, like, that must be a Florida thing because I've never seen that here. Well, you don't really have too many boat DUIs here up this way. It's in the Florida guidebook. Yeah, but that's not in the NHTSA manual. So I don't know if that's been said. Like, remember, they claim levels of scientific accuracy with these tests. Then HGN is scientifically supported, they claim. The walk and turn scientifically supported, they claim. The one leg stand is scientifically supported, they claim. They claim they're about 80 or so % accurate minimum. Doing this fucking, like, we go to, like, whatever the fuck they're doing, it's like out of Greece where they're like, ba 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 do ba da ba 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 ba. Like, no. What is that? What is that? What is that? You know, it's like from Greece. You know, like boop boop the hand jive. What boopity boop 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 ba-doop ba-doop. No. That's so fucking stupid. If you think he's intoxicated, I'll fucking arrest him. Don't just do these things that look like you're making shit up on the side of the road. Like, if you think he's high, make him pee in a cup. But I'd argue right now they don't have probable cause. But yes, he was involved in a single car accident where there was a rollover. Yeah. Yep, totally get it. Was he probably on pills? Maybe. But I'm not going to support an arrest based on that. You know, where she's like Sonic the Hedgehog with the HDN. Like a little kid with an airplane. Just. And then there's this thing, which it's like, fuck that. Fuck that. That is so retarded. There's a lot of problems with that. Yeah, getting an accident give you a concussion. It looks dumb. It looks dumb. Yeah, these are boating field sobriety tests where they're fucking awful. They're awful. Oh, there's one more thing I think he does. Where is it? They make him do the finger. I think there's another part in this that actually they make him do a finger to nose at one point, and it's like. But if you notice though, I don't even like if you like look at this one where he's doing the hand, where he's doing like pound cake on himself. You know, his hands are finding themselves. And yes, that is a biomechanical thing of like, that's why like handguns, close your eyes, you could take a pistol magazine and load it into a pistol because your hands find each other even when you're not looking. That's a principle on why the Uzi has like the magazine goes right up and through the grip. They said that like hands find each other. Your hand finds your hands. So that's why you don't have to look at it. It helps you get there. But like his hands are finding their hands. There's not a lot of problems. And then he's clapping. But this sounds like a field sobriety test. Like, I've never heard of this. I'd probably fuck up memorizing it too. I'm used to like one leg stand, walk and turn, HGN, maybe doing the with your head back and, counting your ABCs. But I've never heard of this shit. I've never heard of that. I don't see how you can get anything out of that. I don't think you can get anything out of that. So, and remember, and Chitin is right. Does anybody ever pass these? No. Because remember, the lack of indicators does not mean you are not intoxicated. You could pass this. You could pass this and still be intoxicated, and they can determine you're intoxicated. This is just looking for additional evidence, but you might be a functional alcoholic. I get it's a boat DUI test, Kat, but it's still stupid. It's still stupid. It's still stupid. This is just moronic. But you can't, you don't pass these. It's just they don't deter, you never, there's no passing these. Because it's not like if you pass these by law, they have to let you go. Or by law, if you pass these, there's a presumption you're not intoxicated. So there's no passing. This is a test you don't pass. They're called tests, but it's a test you never actually pass. There's impossible to pass. And when you put a cop on the stand, you have to make them admit that, they could pass this 100% and you still would arrest them, right? Yes. So this test, it doesn't matter if you pass it. No. And you could determine even if they pass, they still fail. And I got one of them to admit that once. Yeah, it looks really bad in front of a jury. Looks really bad. Yeah. So. Yes, isn't it moronic? Don't you think? Yeah. Yeah. Kat says he fell asleep in the back of a cop car. I mean, yeah, that's some evidence, but that's after the fact of the arrest, so I'd argue that's suppressed. I don't know if lawyer said it or his guy said it, but God, I think this would get suppressed. And all these fucking DUI attorneys, all these other attorneys, oh my God, shit. I didn't even know what was going on until I saw it this afternoon. It's like, wow, this is a real fucking thing. But he's not boating, but he can't, if he says he can't walk, it's kind of like, what do you do if somebody's paralyzed and they're driving? Well, you make them do some different tests, but ultimately at the end of the day, remember, they're already going to arrest you, so just fucking arrest him. Just arrest him. Get it over with. So, I think it's just bullshit the way they handled that. I think it's bullshit. So, let's see here. Can you ask them for the written instructions? No. You're not going to get them because they don't have them. That would be hilarious if you tried, but they're just going to claim you're stalling. But yes, but to be fair, if you read those instructions, I mean, yeah, like you'd be reading also the notes and they're like, remember, you're trying to trip this guy up and trick him. So, and if they offered instructions in writing, you would be able to examine and challenge those, and that's not been NHTSA approved. So no, they won't ever let you do that. Manny says, I wish there was a lawyer you could say if you asked for written instructions. Yeah, well, there's not. Another says there is no boating accident for $5. Yes. Yes. So he's in rehab now. Yeah, and he might get it knocked down, sure. And it might go away. But yeah, that did not look good to the that does not look good in the public's eye. That did not look good in the public's eye. But anyways, we got to catch up on things here. EDW Raptor says, thank you for the 12-hour model stream. Well, thank you. Chugi Show says, I'm minutes late because I'm daydreaming about putting Nick and Aaron on a rocket to the moon on a one-way trip. Oh. Stephen Cooper for $2 says, I'm partial to Linebacker 2. Yes, Linebacker 2, we basically bombed Hanoi to the fucking Stone Age. And we stopped just short. But yes, Linebacker 2 is probably kind of on, like, what we've done to Iran is like Linebacker 2. We have fucked them up bad. Johan says the B-52 also carried a top secret radio receiver, the Collins R390A, and it was only declassified after 1976. It was a Cold War classic for the ham radio chat. They also had really cool things called the Quail, which was basically a little drone they launched. It was more like a cruise missile, but it was designed to mimic a B-52 in radar cross-section. And while they were on an attack, they'd launch a bunch of them. And then they'd fly another direction, and the Russians would try to probably engage them. Pretty cool looking thing. Looks like a little baby, like, airplane B-52. It was actually kind of cute. Like a B-52 had little babies. Jelly Jerome for 10 pounds sterling. The King Sterling. Says, emotional day on the Twitter battlefield. Here is your money. Thank you for lunch. Well, I appreciate that. I'll get some Jimmy John's with it. Jefferson Post says the worst part of the HRO arc is that it's boring and gay. Well, most of life is boring and gay. Another for 5 subs. I didn't cover that. C3 for 10. Thank you. Jefferson Post says Bondi undid more buttons the worse it got. Yes, she did. It's kind of like, yeah. People are worried about Chrissy Noem's husband being a bimbo, and it's like Pam Bondi was a bimbo. EDW Raptor for 10 subs. Let's go tonight, chat. Let's go. Oh, there we go. It says you have a bunch of gifted subs we'll catch up on. I will. Katie for 10 subs. Oh, I love it. Clyde's been getting work tonight. Spud Gun says for 2 pounds sterling. The King Sterling. Yes. We have our own Freebird at home. It's called Freebird. Yes. Thank you. And then Miss T1027. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. For $5 says the casino does Freebird. Sean, you should use Rooster. That would be a good one. That's not a bad idea. Doing Rooster. Yeah, I could do that. That's a good one. I'll have to make a list. We'll have to try. We'll have to set up a night and pick that. I'll have to focus group it. Dirty Eric says for $5. Ketanji Brown, KJB for AG. Out of SCOTUS and fired the following week. Protect the Constitution. Yeah, I don't think you can move Ketanji Brown Jackson like Trump goes over. It's like, sorry, you're getting moved over. It's like, it doesn't work like that. I wish it did. And then fire her. Yes, that's the galaxy brain move. I wish we could do that. Oh. So let's see here. Address that. Stephen Cooper says, Sean as Attorney General would be sponsored by Hugo Boss and Bear. Yes. That would be, yes. Although for Hugo Boss, man, I'd have to get one of those boat sails made from Hugo Boss. So, IG88 says for $1.99, I'm convinced Tyler Robinson is a patsy. I mean, I understand, but I don't think so. I do not think so. Kathy, your realtor in Jersey, guys, remember, buy, sell, leasing, whatever you need to do with land in New Jersey. Kathy is your girl. Check her out if you do need. I really mean that. Kathy says, have you seen Sidney Powell is talking again? No, remember, guys, Sidney Powell is the Release the Kraken lady. Part of all of that nonsense that happened down in Georgia. And she was one of the people who, instead of staying strong to the end and keeping it 10 toes down, Sidney Powell was like, she tapped out. Took a plea. Although they all got diversion at the end of the day, she still tapped out. And yeah, she's a spaz. So don't really care what she has to say. Zero Fuck says, Yana, this is a Wendy's. Yes. Oh. Johan for $2 says, still waiting for Ray Epps to get charged. Well, he pled out to something, so you run into some issues about double jeopardy. So I'm sure that his agreement, he was pleading out, covered everything in January 6th. So I'm sure Ray Epstein walks on everything at that point. And I also bet he's got a nifty little letter from the DOJ with a written consent agreement not to prosecute anything else. Who knows? He's protected. Escape man's justice. He won't escape God's. John Coleman for $2. Good to see you, John. Says glowy lives matter. They do. Chugi Show says gait analysis sounds like it belongs in the garbage along with polygraphs. Just my feeling. Anyway, night Fat Man, night Chat, night Clyde. Looper's saying Tiger Woods was high. Probably, but I don't think they have the right to investigate like that. Seller says answer Maddie. I did. And then another says that was no boating accident. Yeah, I don't think it was a boating accident myself. It was not. So Gehring was rotund. Hugo Boss figured it out. That is actually a good thing. That is a good thing. That gives me some hope, chat. It gives me some hope. Katie says, are we just letting Fauci go? He got a pardon. Game over. Does that mean he shouldn't have to look under his car every morning? No. Just saying things happen out there. The Basque separatist started a space program. The space programs are not just for NASA anymore. SpaceX has a space program. You can start your own space program. If you're not sure what I mean, Google it, chat. The Spanish space program. Google that shit. Kind of funny. Nobody can do anything at a state level? Nope. Nothing you can do. He walks. So yeah, I know there's allegation Tiger Woods said he took medications, but honestly, depending on what medication he took, he might not be aware that causes a reaction. People tend to trust their doctors. Unless he choked down a half a bottle of Percocets and was like, nah, he might not know that he couldn't do those and drive. Who knows? There's a lot of things you can do at that point when it's medication. So, Definitely possible, but we'll see. Like I said, there's a lot that can be done that takes care of that for him. And the cops didn't help make their case any stronger. Hellcat says we need to hire some Ukrainians. Why would we hire cruise missile targets? We don't need help from them. Are we going to start being faggots on Twitter? Because that's Ukrainians are good at that. Oh, well, let's see here. Making sure we got anything else. The Tiger Woods got the pill stream. Yes, he did. Yes, they did. They did. Ralph, you have a challenger now. Hire a driver. Yeah, I agree. But you know what? If you don't think you're intoxicated, you don't need a driver. And he probably wants to drive on his own. So there you go. So, you don't mind if he gets out of the DUI as long as he's leaving the white women alone. I'm pretty sure he's not. Can you blame him? Do you want? It's like Tommy Sotomayor said. Do you want to hang around with those BT 1000s? No, Mayo says every pro-Ukrainian YouTuber has been saying Russia's losing for 3 years. Yeah, well, once again, as I said, nobody has been more effective at swaying opinion against Ukraine than Ukraine supporters. They've been the reason why that's happened. So, yes, I have nothing against Ukrainians, but their online defenders are autistic and cause me to want. Yes, it's the reason why I want to see Kiev get fucking glassed at this point. Is like. All if they ask why, it's like your NAFO friends. I just can't stand them. I want to see them suffer more than you. Sorry, nothing personal. So, with that said, chat, we are all caught up. We're all caught up. Busy day, chat. Busy day. Tomorrow we're gonna have some fun things to talk about. Got some Russell Greer stuff to get back into. We have a bit of an update on the Ethan Klein thing. There's even like a Stuttering John thing that a thing. It's not big. It'll get 2 minutes in there, but we're going to try to catch up on some stuff tomorrow. We'll catch up on some stuff tomorrow, chat. We will do that, and it will be fun. It'll be so much fun. And with that, guys, we're heading over to Locals at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Use the promo code ICESTORM to get 1 month free. Remember, we do 2 live shows, one on Mondays, one tonight. We're going to hang out for a little while, have some fun. Those shows are for you if you support. Otherwise, it's free to sign up. And yeah, try it out for a month if you're not sure. And I will see you guys over there. Make sure I didn't miss anything. I wouldn't say happy Good Friday, but tonight it is Good Friday now. Today, blood is shed to wash away all of our sins for everyone, for man. It's a pretty cool thing when you think about it. Jesus wasn't just some guy. He was the Son of God. It's important to think about that. Anyways, for those of you celebrating Easter, happy Easter to you. If you don't celebrate Easter, I hope you find Jesus. Welcome into your life. Accept him. You want to see saved. So with that said, chat, we are going to Locals, and I will see you guys there. And remember, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. And yes, Christ is king. Yes, he is. So take care, chat, and have a great night.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. But please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rekieta yelled at? Why, yes it was, he even knows he's fat. For all this fun and more, there's one place to go. Here on Sean Martin's Potentially Criminal Show.
You know what? You convinced me. Babe, we're eating ham on Sunday. You convinced me. You convinced me, Maddie. You convinced me.